But that's where you have to have a squad. That's where you have to have players who can step up, and the rotations are hugely important. And that, so for me, I wouldn't use that as an excuse at all for a club like Celtic.
James, how do you see this next period for Celtic? Is it make or break in terms of how their season will be defined? I should also mention that the following weekend, after their Scottish Cup quarter-final match with Rangers at Ibrox, they face Motherwell, which is obviously not going to be simple either. I mean, it's just huge games, and for the next 2 to 3 weeks, midweeks as well.
Yeah, but as Pat says, I think that, you know, these players are, you know, they're designed to deal with that kind of schedule. But when you look at, you know, how tough the games are and how close it is in the league, how competitive it is at the top of that league, then it's not to say just because that's the games you want to play in and that's the schedule you want that it makes it any easier. It's still going to be extremely tough. But I think that, you know, Celtic's starting to get a better look about them. Even when you look at the subs bench, you know, early in the season you get into tough games and you're thinking, right, there's not a great deal of options to freshen in game, never mind the next game. So I think that, you know, the squad's looking healthier and able to cope with the demands, but they're a team that have dealt with, you know, midweek weekend. They have done over the last few years. It's different when you get to this stage of the season because, you know, the nature and the design of European football now, that you're in if you get into group stages, you're in Europe till after Christmas, and then if you make the knockout rounds, which Celtic have, then, you know, adds to the schedule. But there is no doubt that, you know, if you're offering Celtic players, like saying you've got a tough run in here, you play Stuttgart home and away, this could get worse by, you know, progressing. Would you rather progress or go out? Every one of them will say you'd rather progress. You'd rather take the extra games. And you come into it's a rhythm that you're into. You're playing games, you're recovering, you're preparing, you're playing, you're recovering, you're preparing, and that just becomes the rhythm. It's managing the squad, and something that, you know, we're speaking about a manager that's after tonight will have managed 1,000 games. So I think he's well aware of how to deal with that. So I think that I would rather see it as a good challenge than a problem.
Yeah, I've always been of the opinion, Jonathan, that, you know, the more competition you have, the better for you as a player. You know, instead of turning up saying, we'll win the game easily a day and we don't have to really think too much, or we don't have to put the same type of effort into it. When you're under pressure week in, week out, you respond to that if you're a top player. And you want that competition. You know, people say, listen, we'll win the league year after year. No. Listen, you want competition to make you a team that can go into European competition and survive. That's what makes it top teams. Go to all the top teams that won European competitions now. They're all in tough leagues, and they're all having to respond week in, week out. Yes, you've got big squads, you've got players that will come in and out, but those players too have to perform. You can't be sitting around thinking, well, it's easy now, I'm picking up big wages now. No, you've got to be ready to step in when you're called upon, because that's the nature of it, and you've got to perform and really perform to help your team out.
What sort of test will Celtic get from VfB Stuttgart this evening? That is the question on paper. It looks like it's going to be a pretty tough test, but our match commentator this evening at Celtic Park, Liam McLeod, always does his homework about every single side. And Liam, just how good do you feel this Stuttgart side are?
It's a good side, Jonathan. They've improved this season from where they were last season, finished 9th. I mentioned that earlier. So Andreas Hinkel down there, who I think we're hearing from in the programme tonight, he's I think working for German television this evening, and he played for Stuttgart against Celtic in that tie back in 2003. But as for the current team, well, they're German Cup holders. They won the German Cup final, the DFB Pokal, last term against the third-tier side Arminia Bielefeld. And if you're into your German football, you'll know that they went on an incredible run. Did Bielefeld last season, as they saw Union Berlin, Bayer Leverkusen, who were the reigning German champions. Freiburg were beaten as well, so were Werder Bremen, and it wasn't until they ran into Stuttgart in the final that their dream run ended. It was a huge victory for them. It's the first time they've lifted the German Cup since 1997. They've not lifted the Bundesliga title since 2007, and we remember when they played Celtic, and round about that time they came up against Scottish opposition quite a lot. They played Hearts in 2000, they came up against Rangers a couple of times in the Champions League in the first the first decade of this century, and mixed results across the board against Scottish opposition in the past, but that cup win last season took them directly into the league phase of this tournament, which I suppose compensated for the dropping of 7 positions on their previous final league position when they finished second to Leverkusen. And it's a fabulous campaign that they had. Just going into that European Championship in Germany, Leverkusen were all conquering that season. They didn't lose a single game domestically. Didn't come unstuck until that Europa League final against Atalanta in Dublin. So they pushed Leverkusen, they usurped Bayern Munich in the final day of the season, but last time around was more difficult. They were also in the Champions League. They, unlike Celtic, failed to get through to the knockout phase of Europe's Premier tournament. So they come into this one having finished 11th in the league phase of the Europa League this season, and they're looking, I think, to kick on from that, get past Celtic, and potentially go all the way to the final in Istanbul this season. But as far as their away form's concerned, in the Europa League, it's not good. They've lost 3 out of their 4 away games. Much stronger at home when they've won all 4, which perhaps stresses the importance of Celtic taking an advantage to Germany for the second leg a week tonight. They've won 5 of their last 6 matches, the only exception being a defeat to St. Pauli, who've been struggling in the leagues. It was a bit of a shock result. But this is their first European knockout tie in 13 years. Different players, it's a different squad of players quite clearly. But it's, as a club, they're not used to these European knockout games these days. And they've only won 1 of their last 11 knockout European ties. And Celtic have struggled in knockout European ties post winter, coming into this kind of time of the year, without a win actually since 2004, and that superb win over Barcelona, which was accompanied by one of the great Scottish goalkeeping performances in a European match, and David Marshall in the Nou Camp, and indeed in the match here. As Alan Thompson's goal proved enough over the 2 legs to take Celtic through. That was, of course, under Martin O'Neill. And who would have thought that night against Barcelona, they went out to Villarreal in the next round in the quarter-finals of the Europa League that season, and they haven't won a single knockout European tie since then, out with qualifying matches. Good chance for Celtic to try and change that, but this is a club against who they're up against tonight, who have terrific pedigree in European tournaments themselves. Like Celtic, they've been in the winners' enclosure or they hope to be in the winners' enclosure in Europe. They've played in the UEFA Cup final, the Cup Winners' Cup final. They were unfortunate to run into the Maradona and Careca Napoli side, and then Stevie Clark and his Chelsea team in the late 90s under Vialli. So they want to do what Celtic have done, and that is win a European trophy, and they'll feel they've got an opportunity to do that this season.
Liam McLeod, thank you very much for that lowdown there on VfB Stuttgart. I must admit, last time I thought about Stuttgart was at Euro 2024, that fateful day when Scotland lost to Hungary, and that was all a bit painful. Let's hope for better memories this evening from a Scottish football perspective. One man who knows both clubs this evening very well is the former Celtic and Stuttgart defender Andreas Hinkel. Our reporter Tyrone Smith asked him for his thoughts ahead of tonight's match.
Very simply, 2-year-old clubs going head-to-head in Europe over the next couple of weeks. First leg at Parkhead. Just generally, give us your thoughts going into that game.
I expect a really tight game, or two tight games, and I think small things will decide. I think it's quite equal, not equal, but in Celtic Park everything can happen, we know, and Stuttgart is a very good side as well, so I think it's going to be really tight.
I mean, Stuttgart going reasonably well in the Bundesliga. Celtic, by their own high standards, their form has been pretty up and down this season. Maybe not the kind of form that they would be hoping. Do you see Stuttgart as favourites going into this game?
The advantage for Stuttgart is the second leg at home, of course, but I wouldn't say they are the big favourites. It's a very good side. They are fighting for the Champions League places in Germany. But since Martin O'Neill took over again, the Celtic, they get the results. They get results. It's not that easy. It's always close. Maybe at the end, maybe in injury time, but they get the results, and it's a good side. And I think the mentality is there, back there, and so I expect, as I said, tight games.
It sounds a bit cliched almost, the special atmosphere at Parkhead on European nights. Do you think that atmosphere, it almost means that the form that Celtic are taking into a game like that, you can almost forget about that, because these are such special atmospheres and special nights, and it will lift the team, won't it?
It will lift the team, if the crowd is there and the team gets into the rhythm and they play and attack, and something can happen like that. So it can be dangerous for Stuttgart, this first leg, but they have a small advantage because the second leg is in Stuttgart.
Celtic in the UEFA Europa League.
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
I think we are now fully briefed on the ways of VfB Stuttgart and Celtic. It will get underway in under 15 minutes' time. Both clubs trying to reach the last 16 of the Europa League. It is a hectic schedule for Celtic right now, fighting on so many fronts, and domestic concerns are huge, obviously, with the challenge of Hearts and Rangers. The Celtic seek to defend their title, and they have plenty to do in that front, but it is hugely competitive, hugely entertaining for all of us watching this quite incredible season, and this extra layer of European football for Celtic. Well, it could be massive for them this season, depending on how it goes, and maybe it will give them extra momentum if they can achieve some success. We're joined by Pat Bonner and James McFarren at Celtic Park. They're alongside our match commentator Liam McLeod this evening. And Pat, so many strands to the Celtic story, so many things to talk about, frankly, right now. And one of those talking points has to be the man between the sticks, Kasper Schmeichel. Yes, your thoughts on him right now? There was a bit of criticism after the Kilmarnock match. I think it was the Kilmarnock second goal that went in, and some people feeling Schmeichel maybe should have gone for it differently, kept it out of the net, used his other arm. Suggestions maybe he's trying to nurse an injury to his left shoulder. What's your take on the Celtic number one right now?
No, if you want to talk about that second goal, I think that's his style, that's his technique. I think he does go with what is almost arm over the top. He would do it differently than what I would do. I like to go with the lead hand and you almost got a longer stretch. Not all goalkeepers have been trained that way, and I don't think Schmeichel's been trained that way. He likes to go with his opposite hand over the top, and that's just the way he is. I don't think that's something new. I think that's what he does. I thought maybe that he could have moved his feet a little bit quicker, probably in that instance, rather than his technique. He did make a kind of almost like a movement towards the ball slightly, which just caught him out, but listen, that goal in itself, I think overall, I think he hasn't, this year there's been mistakes in him. He has come up with big saves at times too. Against Dundee, he had some excellent saves in that game to help Celtic. He'll save things with his feet, so on and so forth. He goes to the ground a little bit at times. I think the game against Bologna away, I think was it the second goal that went down the middle? I thought his feet were too far apart. So that to me was a technical fault that he had. But again, listen, he's a very experienced goalkeeper. He's very experienced. Martin won't drop him because he knows how important he is in around the team. And if he drops him, and Sinisalo comes in, then he's got this issue with him in the dressing room. Then he won't be a happy man. Like all of us experienced players, when you're left out of the team, you're kind of almost, unless you have another role to do in helping young goalkeepers or helping people around about you, if he given that role as a father figure, then it's slightly different. But if you leave him out and he doesn't talk to you and there's lack of communication, then it becomes a problem. But I think he probably still has to go with him just for that experience in European team. There's a big debate around it. I did say at the start of the season I thought Sinisalo should have been given a start for a run in the team. He did well when he was in. When Schmeichel was injured, I thought he did fine. He did a young goalkeeper. You want to see somebody who's going to be around for the next 2 or 3 years. I think Schmeichel, this will be his last year, definitely at Celtic, whether it's his last season maybe perform at a high level. I don't know, but certainly at Celtic, and they will have to, if they don't go with Sinisalo, they'll have to go to the market again and get somebody. They'll probably have to go to the market anyway and bring maybe a third goalkeeper in or a second goalkeeper in if they go with Sinisalo. So all of that's for the future, but I think tonight he would probably always go because of his experience, but he has to perform. Sometimes he's making mistakes. He tries that volley that annoys me at times, you know, and that's kind of like, you know, you're taking risk when you don't have to take risk. And the ball sometimes are cut out. You get away with it maybe against certain teams, but tonight you won't get away with those type of things. And now the other thing for me is that he likes to pass the ball out, but he has that target up front now that he can go long, and that to me is a part of the whole team performance. You know, making the right decisions, and that is critical tonight against this team.
Yeah, I was shocked last Friday when James McFadden selected Toby Stewart as the man of the match. James often so critical of goalkeepers, but he did play a blinder between the sticks for St Johnstone. James, I've got to get your view on the Kasper Schmeichel situation. Viljami Sinisalo on the bench this evening again. I mean, he's a Finnish international. I think he's got half a dozen caps or thereabouts, and you will obviously have seen Schmeichel in all his recent matches. Does he deserve to still be the Celtic number one for you?
I think he's lucky, Jonathan. I think that his performance levels have massively dropped from last season. I think that he's making more and more mistakes, and it's mistakes that, for me, Backy just gave you the reason why, you know, he's playing and why these mistakes are made, but these are mistakes that he shouldn't be making. I think that is an issue with, you know, the basics for me. I think that the goal at the weekend, he gets drawn to the ball, he shouldn't. He then doesn't move his feet, and I think he can just catch it with one-handed with his left hand. But look, there's no denying he's had a fantastic career. He's been a top-class goalkeeper, but I think he's lucky to still be in goal. And in that basis, he's due the team a performance, because at times he's looked his age, and I know there's a World Cup coming up potentially for them if they get through the playoffs for Denmark.
They won't get through the playoffs, James. They might be playing us.
Well, potentially, and I know that'll be in his mind, but I think that Kasper Schmeichel needs to up his performance levels, because throughout his career he's shown he's a top goalkeeper. When he initially came into the Celtic team, he showed he was a top goalkeeper. At this point in time, the performance levels have dropped quite far, to be honest with you, so I think he's due a performance.
The atmosphere building at Celtic Park. Overall, defensively, Pat, what do you want to see more of from this Celtic team? It feels like, especially in the last game for Kilmarnock were quite able and quite easily found themselves in the Celtic penalty area and threatened Celtic quite a lot, much more so than we've seen teams threaten Celtic in recent seasons. Yeah,
the team that goes and presses Celtic high and are capable of doing it with a good defensive unit behind that, I think they give Celtic problems, because Celtic can't dominate the game then. You know, they have to try to build through the thirds of the pitch, and sometimes that becomes laboured for them. And that's why I'm saying that if that happens, then you've got to go longer. You've got to go up, and I thought there was opportunities for them to go up to damage against Kilmarnock in the first half. They didn't do it. And that's why, you know, when you talk about Martin O'Neill and all the experience he has, 1,000 games and the amount of games he's played and managed teams, I thought he made really good decisions at half-time against Kilmarnock. You know, he made the 3 substitutions and he brought on players, and that game changed what those players that he brought on the pitch. And that's experience, and that's not been afraid to make big decisions at the right time, for sure, and change and adapt and so on. So I think he's got a big role to play tonight as a manager with experience to help this team, and the team might respond from it. The bench will also have a big role to play. I'm just looking down at the bench. They have the likes of Yang on the bench, who's been good under Martin. They've got Iheanacho back on the bench also, could come on, likes the big occasion. James Forrest did well against Kilmarnock in that second half. So they have players that can come off the bench and do something for them tonight. And I think that's the modern game. Benches are really, really important.
I do feel like I have been perhaps a little bit doom and gloom for the last hour, James. Perhaps you've got a point, actually. But it's just because we're casting a critical eye over things right now for Celtic. And they're not top of the table in Scotland right now, which is unusual. So we're looking at the flaws. But in terms of hope, Sebastian Tenetke, he's been great recently up front with Tomas Chavanchara tonight and Daisen Maeda. How much hope do you think that this Celtic attack can really do some damage against Stuttgart?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Tenetke has really come to the fore in terms of his output, you know, getting assists, getting goals, becoming a real, you know, guy you can rely on. I think having Maeda, you know, off the right-hand side will bring energy, and it's a different type of, you know, striker, different type of player on the right-hand side. And Chivanchira, I think he's showed up well at times, so I think there's a lot to, you know, to look forward to for Celtic. Add to that, you've got Yang that can come off the bench, you've got Iheanacho that can come off the bench, you've got Forrest that can come on, Adamu, so Celtic have options, and yeah, I think that, you know, those front three have enough to cause Stuttgart problem.
Well, let's hope for a supercharged performance from Celtic this evening as they take on VfB Stuttgart in the first leg of this match, as both sides try to reach the last 16 of the Europa League. It is all about to get started at Celtic Park. So time to hand you to our commentary team this evening. James McFadden, Pat Bonner and Liam McLeod.
Well, huge opportunity for Celtic, albeit a tough test awaits them over these two legs against the current fourth place side in the German Bundesliga. Familiar foes for Martin O'Neill, who guided his Celtic team past Stuttgart on their way to the final of this tournament under the guise of the UEFA Cup in those days. What a chance they have to lay down a marker tonight and try and take an advantage over to Baden-Württemberg for the return next week. So win apiece following those games back in 2003. Celtic emerged 5-4 in aggregate. Lambert Maloney, who was 20 and scored in his 10th start, along with Stilian Petrov, give them a 3-1 lead after Kevin Turanyi had opened the scoring for the 10 men. Larson and Mjällby missed both. Stuttgart suffered an early red card in that first leg. Martin O'Neill watched from the stand, and leading 3-1 when they headed to Germany. Goals from Thompson and Sutton in a 2-minute period early in the game saw Celtic assume a 5-1 aggregate advantage, and although Stuttgart would overturn that on the night to win 3-2, it ultimately wasn't enough, and Celtic went on to beat Liverpool and Boavista to get to the final in Spain, where they would lose out ultimately to Porto. And what a run it was under O'Neill. What kind of a run can he take Celtic on in European knockout football? This time around, it's been a turbulent time for them. As soon as they get out of groups, or as it is now, the league phase, they've tended to struggle. Since beating Barcelona here, they lost to Villarreal in the next round. And during Martin O'Neill's kind of latter part of his first spell, and in knockout ties since they last won one, they've lost to Villarreal, as I said, in quarters of the UEFA Cup, Milan in the last 16 of the Champions League, Barcelona a year later, Juventus in 2013, Inter, Zenit, Valencia and Copenhagen in this tournament, Bodø Glimt in the Conference League, and then of course a year ago Bayern Munich back in the Champions League. Having lost the first leg against the current Bundesliga leaders and reigning champions, they went over to Bavaria, put in an excellent performance, and were denied late on as they went out. Alphonso Davies with the late goal that took Bayern Munich through just as it looked as though Celtic were going to take them to extra time. And whilst there's been many black spots for them this season as the Celtic players go into their huddle, they've still got the opportunity to win 3 trophies. This might be the most ambitious out of them. Still a long way from the final in Istanbul, but they're in it to win it. And Celtic players break away. Stuttgart all in red tonight with white glasses. Celtic in the green and white hoops. It will be the Germans who are going to kick off to go right to left in this first half towards the Jockstein stand. Celtic will shoot east towards the Lisbon line end as we sit in the main stand just off to the right of the halfway line and up high above the visitors' technical area. As I say, it will be Stuttgart to get the party started here. The Belgian referee Eric Lambrecht in the middle is ready to get things started. Took charge of Rangers' defeat at Old Trafford in this tournament last January, and he's just about ready to go. The first leg of this knockout playoff round for a place in the last 16 of the tournament, and the winners of this will play Porto or Braga. We know that as Stuttgart start proceedings and it's rolled all the way back to Jensch, the big centre-back, long right football forward into the Celtic half, but it breaks out to this near side for Hendricks, the left-back. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Stuttgart settle. They are in good form just now, albeit the game is going to have to be stopped because there have been, I don't know if it's golf balls or whatever, has been thrown onto the pitch from the stands over on the far side. Celtic supporters' protests against the board continuing here and on a European stage as well. James McFadden.
Yeah, it's tennis balls they've thrown onto the pitch, you know, just as the game's kicked off. And you know, we spoke about it before the game about having to get this situation resolved. This is not helping. I understand the frustration from the fans, but this isn't helping. You know, you've got your team ready, prepared, ready to kick off in a game, a huge game, and you have to get an early stoppage.
That's ridiculous. It doesn't help the team. It doesn't help the preparation of the team either. And it's a fine for the club also in European competitions. All of these things. You've made the point has been well made, and it doesn't have to get involved in that situation.
The players just helping to get the balls off the pitch.
It'll take a while, Liam. There's loads of small ones over on the pitch as well. I don't know if that's, you know, golf balls or bouncy balls or whatever, but you know, loads of them. It is going to take a while here, and it's just, again, I'm going to say, I understand the frustration of the fans, and you know, they're feeling towards the board and the treatment from the board. I totally understand that, but the players are out in the pitch ready to play football. There must be better ways of doing this. I know they've had, you know, dialogue. I don't know how much. Clearly it hasn't gone down well, but the players are, you know, we're speaking about before the game, can Celtic win this game? Can they get up for it? You know, we normally see them at their best in this competition. Well, straight away there's a stoppage. They've been ready to go. There's a stoppage going to take, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, which has an impact on performance. The message is obviously, it's there, and it's going to be seen.
James, the message has been made so much now. That just kills this game, kills every single player out there now is got ready. And you know, you've been in the dressing room, you get ready, you go out onto the pitch, and then the game kicks off and your adrenaline's high, everything's high, and suddenly now you lose concentration and you lose. And I know it affects both teams the same way, but for me it's wrong.
My thing in this, for me, I understand the frustration. There's a disconnect between board and fans. I get that. And if fans are not allowed in the stadium, that affects the players. If fans boycott the stadium, that affects the players. If fans decide to throw tennis balls and whatever on the pitch, that affects the players. The message is getting across. It's not going to solve anything. The only people that are really being impacted here right now are the players on the pitch.
Listen, there's loads and loads of people out there who also are looking for season tickets. My grandson is one of them. Has been for 6 years. He's been looking for a season ticket, and he can't get a season ticket.
Well, the offending items have been taken off the pitch, and it will be game on again here. Stuttgart in possession, and Angelo Stieler is on the ball here. The number 6 was in the midfield, one of 4 changes from the side that beat Cologne at the weekend. Celtic have made a few themselves from the side that left it late and came from 2-0 back to beat Kilmarnock as it's rolled back to the goalkeeper Newbell, who hammers it forward looking for the head of Demirovic. He can't get anything onto it. The big striker, he and Undav, massive threats for Celtic's hopes of progression in this tournament. They have scored goals for fun this season, 23 between them, set up plenty as well, the pair. As Liam Scales picks up the loose ball and rolls it back to Kasper Schmeichel, who plays it low out to the eventual hero in Ayrshire on Sunday, Julian Araujo. His ball forward is poor though, and it's been cut out by Hendricks and then rolled back into the centre circle for Finn Jeltsch, and he will just turn it to his left for Chabot, and it's rolled low out to this near side, but it's controlled on the undersole by Leveling, another one of the players who's been brought in from the side that started their win at the weekend. And it's back with the goalkeeper Newbell here. I have to say, it's not often you see a protest like that at home, in home matches. You see it quite often away from home, and I think they did it at Dens Park this season, didn't they? And it was one of the worst performances Celtic have put in this season, kind of latterly in the Rodgers era. Celtic pick up through Chvanchara, out to Maida, right hand side of the box, back onto his right side, drags it across towards the 6-yard line, when it's booted to safety by Jeff Chabot. Kept in play on this near side by Undav. Celtic trying to win it back in the midfield. They do with trusting to Scales. Tierney's over on the left, and it's Scales who decides to go back to Schmeichel. And not to labour the point, but there are Celtic supporters inside the stadium who aren't happy that the game was stopped there. There's a lot of booing there. Here's an opportunity. Demirovic driving forward up towards the edge of the box, rolls it to his right for El Kanous, the Moroccan winger, wearing the gloves, rolls it back there to the captain Karazor, and then it's switched out to the left. Was that a foul by Maida? Yes, it was, says the referee, as he brings Ramon Hendricks crashing to the ground, and it will be a free kick about 10 yards from this near side touchline and just beyond the midway point of the Celtic half. 0-0 in the early exchange. We played 6 and about 3 minutes of football, I think.
Yeah, first test for Celtic from this free kick, and that's Maeda. He goes at full belt when he goes and closes people down, and you're always worried in case he doesn't get his timing right. On this occasion he didn't. They give away the foul, and the referee, obviously, it was early in the game, he's not going to book him, but that's the worry I always have with Maeda.
Free kick will be taken by El Kanous. I think he's going to put it in with the right foot, albeit Stieler is also on site. Most of the players are at the back end of the box here, both colours. It will be the right-footed one's bent in. Schmeichel manages to just get something on it to clear, but there were 2 Stuttgart players and just a fraction away from making contact there, and because the keeper's committed, any touch takes it past him.
Yeah, I mean, you could see how Celtic have lined up in that zonal, line across the 18-yard line, probably just a little bit deeper than the far post, but Stuttgart had players overloaded at the back post. It was obvious from here that was going to be the target.
A chance for Celtic driving forward down the left. Tenekte's cross is cut out, blocked, and out it goes for a Celtic throw-in over on the far side, which Kieran Tierney takes and bowls back to McGregor.
Yeah, it was good play there from Savinchara. He actually went to go as if he was going to play the ball over the right side and checked back, and then almost a little disguise pass down the side, and it cut out the Stuttgart obviously group of players that was running back trying to defend.
On ball forward is nodded back to the goalkeeper by Hendricks calmly. It's with Newell, who's 11 clean sheets this season. This is his 32nd game. He has it at the edge of his box and looks like he's just waiting to pick it up. Here is Tenekte, closes him down, and it's bowled out to the right hand side where it's picked up by Chabot, and then back it comes to the goalkeeper. Stuttgart a little bit tentative in these early exchanges.
Yeah, Celtic have been aggressive in going and pressing Stuttgart up on the edge of their box, pressing in a 4-4-2, Negrin up alongside Chvanchara. Tenekte releases himself on that occasion to go to Newell and goal, and I think that was a chance for Stuttgart. They managed to get right outside of Tenekte, but he turns back. I think he's got another pass out wide and maybe try and build, but it has been an aggressive press from Celtic, stopping Stuttgart from really getting anything going this early. I know it's extremely early, but certainly that aggression's there from Celtic.
Long ball for Stuttgart, aimed down that right side for Emerdin Demirovic. Can't get anything onto it. It does bounce off a Celtic player and out for a throw into the visitors, about level with the edge of the centre circle. North stand side, the Stuttgart right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Maeda there. Obviously he's playing as a winger, but he has got to be careful that the fullback went high there, and he kind of just was lucky to get back in time, because that switch of play was on.
Long ball forward up to the edge of the Celtic box. Araujo heads it away. Maida with a clever flick forward to Nygren, Celtic's top scorer with 16 goals this season. Managed to score 1 for his country, Sweden, as well, in World Cup qualifying, a 4-1 defeat to Switzerland in the autumn. He is personally having an excellent season in front of goal. Yeah,
he's really effective, but it looks so simple from Araujo when he heads it down. He's running backwards, he's at full stretch, but he manages to pass it to Maeda, who then allows an opportunity to potentially counter-attack. Really smart header from him. And you're looking, because of how Celtic are pressing, Negrin's playing as a striker beside Chvanchara. I wonder if still not really get the chance to see if that's going to be how they play when they have possession. We've seen it before. Hatate's been the one that's gone up and joined in the press.
It's a ball forward driving down the left-hand side is levelling, and he's trying to get away from Trusty, who's pushed to the ground. The ref give that as a free kick. No, he doesn't. Scales under pressure as well, deals with it, knocks it out of his own box for McGregor, who rolls it out to the left for Tierney. Tierney's ball forward, look and try and get Svanchara engaged, and he's on it now, just holding off the defender. He's brought to the ground. Free kick Celtic at the left angle of the Stuttgart box. Really good, strong play by Tomas Svanchara, and it draws a free kick in a very dangerous position for Celtic. It remains 0-0 after 10.5.
Great awareness from Svanchara. He knew where the space was. He's seen that the ball was going to be played down that channel early. Got his body across the opposite side of the defender, and used, as you say it rightly, Liam, nice and strong, and ends up getting a free kick for his team high up the pitch. That ball's on down the channel.
There's a lovely little touch as well, because, and we saw it the weekend against Kilmarnock, he done it as well, I think against Hearts, where he lets it come onto his right foot and looks like he's going to back in and take it with the instep and turn back the way and hold the defender off, but it's a little feint on his left foot and takes it with the outside of his left to get beyond the defender. Really good play.
Short free kick, Tenecti takes over, gets the cross in, it's poor, it's easily away there by Stieler, picked up by Araujo, moves it to his right for Paulo Bernardo, making just his 8th start of the season for Celtic this evening, and then Nygren's ball to Trusty goes out for a throw-in on the near side. Trusty wasn't on the same wavelength as Nygren, who lets his teammate know how frustrated he is at that. It stays Celtic 0, VfB Stuttgart 0.
Yeah, listen, it was a good opportunity for them on that free kick. They took it short, but Tenecti, poor cross, and if you're going to take it short, then the second phase you've got to deliver.
Yeah, Nygren's frustrated at Trusty there, but I mean, Trusty's in the right wing, high and wide in the right wing area. He's probably just been out there to offer the pass. Nygren has a little fake, and Trusty doesn't read it, and he's frustrated. But I mean, it's a bit much to ask Trusty to read the fake reverse pass when it looks like he's going to step inside onto his left foot.
Yeah, it was one of those, that's your fault, not mine. Throw in Stuttgart, just about level with the edge of the D at their own box, over on the far side, the Stuttgart right.
Unless he turns round and says, "What are you doing there?" to Trusty, "Why are you in the right wing? I should be passing that to Maida."
Free kick goes, I think, to Celtic over there on the just kind of left to centre side, midway inside the Stuttgart half. In fact, it's bounced off the referee, so it's a bounce ball which is dropped at the feet of Tierney, who rolls it back to Scales. Kind of no-brainer to play Svanchara this evening. He's got recent experience of playing against Stuttgart, and he's on it again on the left. His cross is blocked, but it is a corner. First of the evening for the home team.
I did say before the game, that ball's on tonight, down the channel, up to the striker. You miss out midfield a little bit, and that, when in the first half against Kilmarnock, Adama was playing up front, and that ball was on, but he wasn't making the run. He wasn't going down the side of the centre half. He was coming to the ball, and he wasn't able to get a hold of it.
Plenty of options in the middle here for Celtic. The corner will be taken by Bernardo over on the far side. The socks rolled down to his ankles, preparing to take it in front of the safe standing section here. The Celtic left as they attack the goal to the right. Bernardo waits, huge group of players in the 6-yard box. Poor one though, really poor, and it's easily away there by Wagnerman. And that's not a great touch by Tenecti, and it's in a dangerous position potentially here. The ball played forward towards Leveling, can't find them. Celtic clear, just as it looked as though Leveling was going to get in behind the entirety of the Celtic rear guard there. It's Callum McGregor holding off his man. Demirovic finds Araujo, who rolls it back to Kasper Schmeichel. It is goalless.
They get away with it, yeah, they get away with it. Tenecki can just roll it back to Scales, who's backed off, and it's a simple pass for him. He tries to play a blind pass inside.
Chance here at the edge of the box. Celtic in trouble, and Stuttgart score. Schmeichel can't keep it out. It's been knocked on by Alcaraz. Schmeichel got the merest of touches to it, but the Moroccan comes over to celebrate by the corner flag, and despite a positive start to the match, Celtic find themselves behind. It is Celtic 0, Stuttgart 1.
A goal out of nothing, I've got to say, and the ball comes back to Schmeichel, and he just plays it up into the air, and it goes almost halfway up in his own half, and Tenecti loses out in the air. And
I thought he looked offside. I thought he come from an offside position. I think the Celtic players feel the same.
but you still have to deal with the first situation. You know, the ball's played up into the air, but it should have been played long, right up into the halfway line. That clears the area, and then you can get up after it. Instead, it's up into the air and it lands about 50 yards from goal, and then they're under real pressure.
The one thing I would say about that, I don't think that's going into the far corner.
No, it's not. I mean, he cuts inside in his left foot and reverses it. Spoke about Schmeichel before the game, and you know, it has been mentioned his issues with diving to his left-hand side. Whether he's wrong-footed, we don't have the luxury of getting to see it again. But I didn't think there was a lot of power on it. It looks like potentially he's just wrong-footed him. But you're right, it didn't look like it was anywhere near the corner.
Packy's got to save that, doesn't he?
Yeah, listen, I'm looking at the first situation. I think that was, for me, that was where the mistake almost developed from. And you're right, I think the ball's played nice and sharp down to his left-hand side. Top goalkeeper on form at that point would be able to stretch and save that. Fairly simple, I think, save. He wasn't able to get down quick enough. And it's gone in on his left-hand side.
Well, those kind of incidents for Schmeichel are totting up right now, and Celtic were already facing a tough challenge against one of the top sides in Germany, but now they've got to come from behind, as they did in 2003. Kevin Karani gave Stuttgart the lead here.
That's where the ball
header.
he's played. Sorry, Liam, for cutting across you.
You crack
he's
on.
Played that long ball there, and that takes you up the pitch. Now you can go and press the game. The one that he's kicked from 6 yards leading up to the goal ends up, 40-50 yards from goal. Not good enough.
Same old problems for Celtic right now. Plenty time to do something about it, though. That's the one positive, I suppose. But you do feel they cannot afford to lose this game tonight.
Yeah.
I know they pushed Bayern Munich a year ago, having lost the first leg, but it was one of their best performances away from home in Europe to produce a chance to take that tie to extra time, which they ultimately failed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it can still be done, but you want to take a lead, or at the very bare minimum, being level going into the game in Stuttgart. But it's important for Celtic right now that they don't dwell on it too much.
There's Tierney wide left of the Stuttgart box for Sebastian Tenekti. Chops onto his right side, chance to shoot. He does, but he just delayed it a little bit too long, and it's blocked by Wagnerman.
Yeah, it was a good block, you've got to say. He stayed what Tenekti as he's cut in on his right side, and it was a good block, good defensive block. But you know, there's been nothing. Celtic have actually started the game quite well, you know, and they haven't been overawed in any shape or form. But that was the first half, you've got to say, half chance created by themselves.
That's a big blow, though. 18 minutes on the clock. Liam Scales picks up and rolls it back to Schmeichel, and then turns it to his right for Trusty.
I think as well, you listen to Andy Hinkle before the game saying that, you know, Stuttgart will be not focusing on this, but knowing that they're strong at home, that they want to take it home and win the game at home.
It's a chance for Celtic down the left to attack with Tenekti. Level with the 18-yard line, level with the penalty spot, level with the 6-yard line, pulls it across. Vantrana's efforts blocked, still alive, doesn't quite fall for Maida, and Stuttgart bundle the ball clear out to this near side through their captain Karazar. And it's a Celtic throw, and Araujo takes it quickly, finds Trusty, finds McGregor to Bernardo, back to McGregor to Scales, left of the centre circle, and over to Tierney on the far side. Scales has it along the halfway line for Trusty. Martin O'Neill out the edge of his technical area there, trying to guide his players through this. As Araujo goes down, he's fouled. It's a free kick to Celtic, and the frustration there on the face of Martin O'Neill. Sean Maloney raced out from the dugout as well. Celtic take the free kick quickly, and O'Neill being spoken to by the fourth official now.
Yeah, it's because Araujo does it brilliantly. He takes the touch with the instep, it looks like he's going to pass it back. It's a little feint, drags it up the line, and he's beyond the defender. But Nygren had made an outstanding run just in between full-back and centre-back. Maida was wide, which then created that space, and if he hasn't pulled back, then the pass is not a very difficult one, certainly for, you know, Araujo, with his quality, and that'll be the frustration for Martin O'Neill. And just before it, Tenekti, brilliant down the left-hand side, onto his left foot, flashes it across. Chivinchara goes with the outside of his right. I think he has to go with his left foot.
Yeah,
it's blocked by the defender, but the bonus is, or the positive is, Tanetke beating his man, getting the ball in the box, Jovanchara being in space and getting a chance to score. So it is there for Celtic, as long as they can not give encouragement to Stuttgart to go and catch them on the break, or to go and press them and win the ball back and cause them problems.
It's back with the Stuttgart goalkeeper here, Newbell. And he plays it short there to Chabot. Oh, that's a mistake, and Nygren's in! Nygren round the goalkeeper! And scores! Celtic level! They didn't have to stew on being behind for long. The main man in front of goal this season has been Benjamin Nygren, and he scores again. It's his 4th in Europe. And come the business end of this tie in Germany next week, it could be a priceless goal. We shall see. But for now, Celtic are back on terms. Celtic won, VfB Stuttgart won.
Well, incredible. We talked about maybe Schmeichel being at fault. I thought the goalkeeper there also passing the ball, 10 yards to the holding midfield player, who I think he was unsighted actually. I think Nygren, there was a player in his line, and Nygren comes in on the blind side and he took it really well. Went around the goalkeeper really well.
Yeah, it's Karazor who takes a square pass from Newbell. He just plays it blindly with his left foot, doesn't even look. Nygren, I spoke about Celtic's pressure earlier. It was good going in that 4-4-2, being aggressive, forcing a mistake. Nygren does brilliantly, and not only that, when he gets into the position, Newbell comes out, closes the angle. Nygren, we know how much he favours his left foot. You're expecting him maybe to just try and bend it round him. He's just got the composure, little fake, drag onto the right foot and slot it into an empty net. It's brilliant from Nygren.
Well, the linesman initially was going to give Celtic a throw-in. He then changed his mind. The referee overruled him to give Celtic the throw, and now the ref's changed his mind and it's a Stuttgart ball. Try and explain that to me. The linesman was all over the shop. He was looking around for someone else to make the decision for him.
I agree, Liam. Poor decision. Belgium is a Belgium referee.
The Belgian officials, experienced referee as well in charge, but that was clearly a Celtic throw-in. And if I can see it here, then surely the assistant on the near side can see it. Here's Araujo for Celtic, across the halfway line and finds Nygren midway inside Stuttgart territory. Rolls it back with the left foot to McGregor, and then in turn along the grass into the centre circle for Scales, who shifts it out to Tierney wide on the left side for Bernardo. Onto the left touchline for Tanekti, who stabs it back to Tierney.
Yeah, Celtic are growing confidence. They're playing well. They're moving the ball well. They're coping with Stuttgart, I've got to say, in this game, and only for that one mistake. Yeah, there are a couple of mistakes you could say leading to the goal. I think they've done really well in this game so far.
Bernardo's in trouble. He's had it nicked off him by Demirovic. He's managed to get there ahead of Scales, but McGregor is there for Celtic to mop up, and he clips it out to Tanekti on the touchline, and back to Tierney, and then in turn back to Liam Scales, who goes back to Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, I think that Celtic have just, played the game the exact same way, even when they were behind. I said it was important they didn't lose their heads. They didn't let it affect them. And of course, it helps when you get that early equaliser. But in terms of their pressure, they've been aggressive to press. They've still taken the ball and taken them in risky areas at times. But it didn't affect them going behind, which I think is a big bonus for them.
Stuttgart in possession just inside their own half here. It's slipped forward by Stieler out to the left and picked up here by the goal scorer for them, El Canus. And back to Stieler, who shifts it to the right of the centre circle, but it's picked up by Finn Jeltsch. Over to the right side for Wagnerman. Infield for Stieler. And to the left of the circle it goes, and it's Chabot out to the left-hand side. Touchline for Leveling. He's on the turn, trying to take on Maida. He's looking to get to the byline. He does, and he might want a corner there. Yes, it's come off either Maida or Araujo, and it's a Stuttgart corner on this near side. It's 1-1 in Glasgow, 24.5 on the clock.
Yeah, the first test, I think, from a corner, and we'll see how Celtic set up. They're lining up in a zonal formation on that 6-yard box.
An opportunity to swing this in on top of the Celtic defence. They've got everyone back. Celtic here, the vast majority of them are in and around their 6-yard area. Very crowded towards the goal. It's a short corner, taken to Stieler on this near side. Back to Elkanus, a good ball to the back post. It's just gone wide. I think the handball's been given. Free kick to Celtic. Pat clocked it, but that's not to say the officials are going to clock it, and it went wide anyway. But it is a free kick to Celtic.
Yeah, a lot of the teams now, if you watch set pieces, they all bunch up at a way beyond the back post. Very difficult to pick up, and then they make their run. I was watching the game last night. It was Brugge that also did exactly the same, and they run at different angles, and it's very difficult to stay with them.
Yeah, I mean, when the ball then gets, they play it short, lay it back, set.
Canus flicks it forward the outside of the right boot, but it's mopped up by Scales, who finds McGregor. Now Araujo on this near side. Long ball up onto the halfway line, comes off the head of Stieler. And controlled by Karazar. And back out to this near side for Hendricks. He finds Stieler, who marauds up to the halfway line and rolls it side foot out to this near side. And it is picked up by Leveling. He's back into his own half for Chabot. Two Celtic players are booking away from missing the second leg, who've started tonight. Scales and Maida are in that category. Stuttgart have 3, Stieler, Chabot and Undav. Let's move back there to aforementioned Chabot. And to the left for Hendricks. Field to Karazar. And then back it comes to the goalkeeper. Good pressure by Celtic again. Chwanchara trying to put pressure on the goalkeeper. It's a long ball forward by Newbell. Drops onto the halfway line and eventually it settles. The feet of Karazar. Plays it short to Chabot. Long with the left foot out to the far side it goes, and there is space here for the visitors. It's played back infield to Stieler. Out wide right it goes, and there's options in the middle here if they can find a cross. Tierney's covering over on the far side. It's rolled in field there for Yelch, but he loses it. Celtic give it away in double quick time, and it's picked up in a central position by Hendricks. Rolls it with the right foot out to the left hand side. Cross comes in here from Leveling. Deep ball towards the back end of the area. Tenecti can't clear it. Chip back into the Celtic box. The header away by Scales. Now it breaks to Chabot. Everyone bar the Stuttgart goalkeeper is in the Celtic half, mostly in and around the Celtic box. Karazar back out to the right side. Pulled back there by Wagnerman. Then the cross comes in, it's a free header, it's in! Stuttgart score again, and Elkanus is his second. He didn't even have to jump to head that past Schmeichel. Into the right corner of the net again. And Stuttgart have their lead back at Celtic Park. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
Yeah, it was an awful deflection, wasn't it? It was horrible deflection. It just comes up off, I think, a Celtic player. And that's why he was onside, and he's just standing there, and all he do is just direct it onto target. I think that was an unfortunate situation for Celtic.
Yeah, but I still think he's in so much space, and they were pinned back. Elkanus has come in at an area in the near post, inside the near post, so it's not as though he's made it, an outstanding movement to go and free himself up. He's in too much space. Someone has to be picking him up. It's a header probably inside the 6-yard box, or just on the 6-yard line.
Would he have been offside, James, if that deflection didn't happen?
I don't know. It didn't look to me as if he would be offside. It looked to me as if he was in between Trusty and Scales and not picked up, unmarked. In a free header, as Liam says, didn't even have to jump, just had to direct it and into the net, and it's just too easy. I was looking at it, Stuttgart are working into the wide areas, and they're getting players forward, and they're having options in the wide areas, but they weren't really hurting Celtic. But it was nice and patient. Then they decided to put the cross in. They overload at the back post. I thought it was going to be a deep cross, and it looked like it was a pretty comfortable enough position, but at the same time not enough pressure on the ball, no desire really for Celtic to maybe even squeeze the game and get out of their box.
They had a chance to clear it just before that too, and it was Chara. I don't know why he went so deep. He was almost nearly on the edge of the box.
There's Leveling for Stuttgart. It's a long deep ball into the Celtic box. Another header back to Mirovic, knocks it towards goal, and Schmeichel holds on. But it's way too simple. It's way too easy for Stuttgart right now to cut through that Celtic defence. One ball, every ball into the Celtic box is causing panic right now.
Well, they're pushing players right round the back, aren't they? And Celtic are getting the fullbacks in really tight, and you're asking wingers to go back into a position where they're not comfortable defending the back post, and that's what happened there. Tenecti, 2 or 3 times now he's been asked to do a defensive role in the back post and just doesn't look comfortable doing it.
Yeah, Celtic, particularly in the back line, are playing really narrow. As you said, Pat, the fullbacks are tucking right in. It's almost to try and stop the spaces in between fullback and centre-back. But then, as you say, the fullbacks are the spare player, whether it's a switcher play or whether it's a cross to that back post. And Tenecki, not known for his aerial prowess, even to go and attack it, but then when you're in that defensive situation, your body shape's all important, your awareness is all important, and making sure that you don't get caught in no man's land, which he was a little bit there, because he can't then go and affect the first contact, and neither can he go and then affect the second contact. He's a bit stuck in the middle, and that is, Stuttgart, to be fair to them, have exploited it well, because they just push the fullbacks high and wide. The 2 wide men come inside and occupy that back line. The Celtic's wide men have to switch on to it.
Scotland's last team standing on the continent. Celtic behind to Stuttgart. We're beyond the half hour. In fact, we've played 31 here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland Extra, medium wave on digital, and online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. Celtic have to come from behind again. Stuttgart, long ball forward, comes all the way through to Kasper Schmeichel. Just a sense that second Stuttgart goal's not the stuffing out of everyone here, apart from the Stuttgart fans.
And it's not a surprise. Again, I'm looking at the build-up. Undav is playing inside Kieran Tierney, which is almost right beside Liam Scales, which he has to go in, he has to go tight. Wagnerman is then the one that goes high and wide. Leveling is over on this left-hand side, he's hugging the touchline, so more often than not the spare man is the right back, but he's playing in the position you would expect to see a right winger in.
Undav's been excellent for Stuttgart over a few seasons now. 2 seasons ago it was he and Sergio Garassi who moved to Borussia Dortmund off the back of 30 goals in the season. Stuttgart finished runners-up, it's the highest league position since they last won the title in 2007. The German Cup holders 2-1 up here. That's good play by Undav on the far side, albeit his ball. I'm not sure the intended target was Karazor. He didn't get onto it. McGregor did for Celtic as they come forward to the home team. To Tenecti, and then back to McGregor, wide in the left, rolls it back to Tierney. Side foot ball back out to the touchline for Tenecti. He stabs it back to Tierney, who sweeps it infield to Scales, who finds Trusty, but all bar Schmeichel in the Stuttgart half right now. Austin Trusty rolls it back onto the centre spot for Scales. Back to Trusty, out to Araujo on this near side. Clip ball with the right foot forward, looking for Nygren. Can't find him, and it's dug out there by Stieler up towards the halfway line. Araujo pinching it back there off Elkanus, and now it's with Nygren. And then Scales steps forward to the row of the Celtic supporters, looking for Maida. And doesn't find him, and it's touched back to the goalkeeper by Hendricks. Cleared by Newbell up towards the edge of the centre circle. Demirovic has gone down. He's clutching his head, so the ref might have to stop this. It's actually gone out of play anyway. Going to throw into Stuttgart on this near side. It's Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2. We played 33 and a half.
Yeah, I really can't believe Celtic have lost 2 goals in this game. When you consider the way the game has gone, they've been probably the better team on the ball at times, and every time that Stuttgart's got into Celtic's half, they tend to get an opportunity or they score goals, and that's the
They're
difference
patient,
in the game,
aren't they? They're trying to get that overload. Wagnerman down the right hand side, they're trying to get it, they're being patient with it and waiting for that right moment to exploit it.
Coming forward again down the right, and Wagnerman's cross is cut out at source by Tenecti. Now for the Stuttgart throw-in. That'll be the frustration for Martin O'Neill. They're down to 10 at the moment, Celtic. They're just waiting to return to their full complement. It's McGregor who's off. Stuttgart play on. And on the left-hand side, they've got it here with Leveling. He's got his cross ball in. It's headed away by Bernardo. Clearance completed by Tranchara. And it breaks back to Leveling on this near side. That'll be the frustration for Martin O'Neill's the nature of the 2 goals that they've conceded. That's been a problem for Celtic. The goals they've conceded this season, when they have conceded goals, it's not taking worldies to beat them. That will be a something that they'll perhaps look back on if they finish the campaign empty-handed. There's obviously a big chance that could happen. There's also a big chance they could win 2 domestic trophies anyway. This is a tough one to win, obviously, particularly the position they find themselves in as Leveling comes forward, finds Elkanous is on a hat-trick, and he wildly slashes at it from the edge of the box, and it goes out for a goal kick as he tried to dispatch a first-half hat-trick there. Final 10 minutes of the opening 45, Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
Yeah, again, they're patient. They play down this left-hand side. Leveling is driving, looking like he's going to go to the line, but he's waiting for that support from Elkanous. And again, you've got Undav and you've got Wagnerman at the back post. They're looking for the cross. They're looking for that little floater to the back post so they can go and attack because they have the overload. Undav's positioning is excellent. You know, he's playing just inside the right shoulder of Kieran Tierney, just off the back of Liam Scales. Then he's dropping off the back of Pillow Bernardo.
And they've got a problem against Celtic down the right, over on that far side. Some run by Chabot, the centre-back, pulled back to the edge of the box. Collected here by Undav. His ball back into the midfield's not what he intended. The momentum's gone from the attack. The Celtic supporters urging their players to press up high here. And eventually Stuttgart have to go all the way back to their keeper, who's at the midway point of his own half. And then it's slipped infield there to Yelch, who goes all the way back again. The new belt is shifted out to this left side for Hendricks. Down the line it goes to Elkanous. And then back the way to Hendricks, the edge of his box, where Finn Yelch knocks it into the midfield, and Stieler turns it out to that right-hand side again for Wagnerman. Infield to Undav. Level with the edge of the centre circle. Right of it in the Celtic half. Long switch of play out to the left, headed away by Araujo.
I'm just looking at, do you think that Kieran Tierney has to come in that tight? For me, I think he's about 5 or 6 yards too far in, and at times, and when that ball does go wide, it's almost as if...
Wagnerman again, just what Pat's talking about. Wagnerman in acres of space to take it down, to cross, and it comes. Demirovic on the stretch can't make proper contact with the header, and it goes behind past the left-hand side of the goal frame. And on 37 minutes it will stay Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
Yeah, you have almost Tonecti made on this side, but Tonecti on that far side, he doesn't want to be running back, almost back level with his back four to try and do a defensive role.
Yeah, that means Tierney does have to do it then, Pat,
yeah,
because he has to come inside, and your spare man is then, if it's going to be a diagonal, in theory you should be able to be inside and be able to get on his touch to put pressure on. But Stuttgart are playing basically a 4-2-4, but yeah, Undav is not a wide right on the 4. He's picking up little spaces where he's impacting three players just by his positioning without actually touching the ball, which is then freeing up Wagnerman to go on the outside. And Tierney is caught in between. For me, he has to go with Undav, but either Bernardo has to then step in front of him to stop it going to his feet.
That's the point.
Or Tonecti has to just match. He just has to forget Undav inside and just match Wagnerman up and down the line. It's a shift you don't want to do as a wide player, but if that's the game with the fullback. If he's going to keep going and you're not coming with him, he's going to keep doing it. But if you go with him and then run off him, then he thinks, maybe I can't do it every time. But at this point in time, he can do it whenever he wants.
Well, including this match, Celtic have got 8 games to play over the next 32 days across all competition, and we'll know what kind of shape they're in when it comes to potential silverware come the end of those 32 days. And loads of matches away from home coming up as well. After the Hibs game here on Sunday, 6 of the following 7 are on the road. It's a tough spell that they have. It includes the second leg of this one. Celtic 2-1 down. Maida winning it back for Celtic on the near side. Now it's with Araujo, looks to clip it forward to Nigren. He'll chase, might just skip away from him. He's going to do well to keep it in play. He didn't quite manage it as he pulled it back. It was just over the byline. Goal kick to the visitors, 2-1 to the visitors.
I think he could have kept that in there.
I thought he
looked like he was going to take it with his left
throw in and pin them in the corner.
He could have taken it on his left foot and even just protected the ball. He tries to swing and half volley with his right foot. I thought it looked like he could keep it in. But again, you go back to the the problem Celtic face in the back line. That it is a 4-2-4, but then Wagnerman goes high and wide. It then becomes a front 5, and if you're not getting Maida coming back and maybe allowing Arojo to push in, or Tenecti to go and match the fullback. Then they're always going to be outnumbered.
Foul over there on Karazor. That's a free kick to Stuttgart, level the edge of the centre circle in their own half. It's touched back to Steeler. He'll then roll it to Chabot, who in turn goes out to this left-hand side. And it's picked up by Leveling. He's been in the senior German national team, 4 caps. And that's rolled all the way back to the goalkeeper once more. Stuttgart looking as comfortable as they have done all evening since that second goal in particular. Celtic were bright. They've not really managed to get Chvanchara involved since Stuttgart got their second. He's a big reason why they were spooking the visitors' defence in those early exchanges, as McGregor takes it for a run out to the left-hand side. He passes to Tierney down the line for Sebastian Tenecti. Tenecti faced by Jeltsch, looking for Tierney. It's blocked and out for the throw-in of Wagnerman. He seems to have fallen awkwardly over there. He's injured himself.
Yeah, he's just given out, I think, because he thinks Tierney just nicked him as he's played the ball. It's gone down very, very simply and very easily.
Another busy weekend coming up. Starts tomorrow. Championship, Wraith Rovers against the leader St Johnstone in Kirkcaldy. And then on Saturday, Hearts, the league leaders, at home to Falkirk, who knocked them out of the Scottish Cup at Tynecastle last month. It's Aberdeen, Dundee, St Mirren, Motherwell, Dundee United, Kilmarnock. And then Sunday, Celtic host to Burnley here. And at the same time, Rangers go to Livingston. Next midweek, Dundee United, Aberdeen on Tuesday. The return of this leg on Thursday. That's a 5:45 kickoff. Celtic will hope to be at the very, very least within touching distance. You kind of feel they can't afford to lose tonight if they're going to get through. Long ball by Scales up to Chvanchara, offside flag was up. Free kick Stuttgart.
He makes a move
3 minutes
early.
left of the 45.
Sorry, Liam, he makes a move early. I don't think Scales can even pass it as early as he makes a move.
No, he's gone too quick.
He runs in behind, then he has to come back, and it is a good ball in the end, but he comes from an offside position.
Go back to Newbell, the edge of his box, rolls it with the right foot, low out to the far side for Jeltsch, goes back to his keeper, first time with the right foot, forward it comes into the midfield, bounces into the centre circle, breaks down Dav, now he's got Leveling away on the left if he can find him, rolls it to Leveling, up against Araujo, Leveling on his left side, and he fires it high over the bar. He's got a couple of upset teammates in the middle who were waiting for a pull back there. Saw the headlines, goes over the bar, and thankfully from a Celtic point of view, it is a goal kick and no damage done, and it stays Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
Yeah, it's ambitious, but I think that the way that it's defended by Araujo is that when Leveling takes it on his left, he doesn't close the angle off. It's almost, I'm not sure if it's intentional, but inviting the shot to go near post. I don't think the cutback was on, but it was from a good position of Celtic pressing, forcing him to go long from the goalkeeper. Trustees just caught under it, and Stuttgart are then away.
It's Tierney on the far side, down the line for Tenecti, and field to Bernardo, and back to Tierney, who rolls it back to Scales.
Yeah, that ball that was so effective early on in the game for Chvanchara down the side of the centre half, they've stopped doing that now, so they haven't got into position to be able to play it. And that's kind of allowed Stuttgart to dominate the game after that second goal. Now I think they're in total control of the game.
6 of the starters for Stuttgart tonight started the German Cup final last season. They won that 4-2. A couple of the goal scorers from that final no longer at the club, including Newcastle's Voltemade, who's made that, was it £60 million Newcastle signed him for in the summer. He scored last night in the Champions League as Undav picks up, and he did start that final, and indeed is the only goal scorer still at the club in that final. There's Leveling driving forward, and he's run into Araujo and Maida, but still alive for Stuttgart. Low ball played across, cut out by Scales, and it ends up back in the gloves of Schmeichel, who smashes it low forward out to the left for Tenecti. Celtic look to hit the counter here. Across the halfway line goes the Tunisian. It's Tenecti, he's up to the midway point of Stuttgart territory. Been closed down on the far side by Wagnermann. It's to sweep it back down the line to Tierney. Infield first time to McGregor, who rolls it to his right for Trusty. That's 45 minutes played. There's going to be 4 added, and we're into the first of them. So Maida goes back to Araujo on the near side, and infield to McGregor. Knew there'd be plenty stoppage time because of the protest early in the match from the Celtic supporters as they threw tennis balls on the pitch. As it's rolled into the centre circle, it's Chvanchara. He goes back to Trusty. How they'd love another equaliser before the half-time interval.
Yeah, and you know, the last counter opportunity for Celtic there, Tenetki's away. He doesn't have a great deal of options, but I'm looking at Wagnermann and Hendricks and the speed and intensity that they get back into position, and that kind of nullifies that counter-attack opportunity.
Celtic throw-in quickly taken midway inside the Stuttgart half by Tenecti, back to Tierney, back up the line to Tenecti. Tenecti is level with the Stuttgart penalty spot as he rolls it back to Tierney, infield to McGregor, back to Scales.
He's got a chance there to take the full back on in a 1v1. He just checks back again, Tenecti.
Here was Daisen Maida on the right. His cross is clipped. The goalkeeper trying to prevent the corner, which he can't do. Corner Celtic.
But even that, he opens up and he takes the defender on, and he gets himself a corner on this side here, Maeda. I think he needs to do more of that, Jim.
Yeah, he does, but if he opts not to take him on, when he plays it back to Tierney, that should be perfect weight for him just to step on and deliver. It's fired back to him, he needs to take a touch.
Kieran Tierney, in swinger with the left foot on this near side, in first half stoppage time. In swinger from Tierney towards the back post, looping corners, headed away pretty decisively by Chabot. Picked up by Tenecti, decides to take another touch too many there, but he's managed to get the crossings very deep, but he can't find a teammate, and it sails behind and out for a goal kick, and it will stay Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
That's a great chance again for Tenecti to go and commit. The ball, you know, it's going out the box, it's going away from goal to the corner of the box. Tenecki's waiting for it to bounce, 2-3 bounces, then he's backing off till he gets a better touch. Go and meet the ball, go and take that into the box, go and cause a bit of panic, a bit of confusion, get a half yard, get your shot away, go and take a player on, potentially get brought down, get your team a penalty kick. But when you go and back off, if you're doing that to get the cross in, then the cross has to be right, it has to be much better than what it was.
Headed out by Trusty under pressure from Demirovic. Araujo can't keep it in play, and Stuttgart have a throw in about level with the edge of the arc of the Celtic box on this left hand side, maybe a few yards further back by the time Ramon Hendricks takes it. He bowls it back into his own half here, and it is picked up by Chabot, and then taking it for a run over on the right side is Yelch. Runs into trouble, but eventually managed to give it to Karazor. He too runs into trouble, but manages to hold off his opponent. Now El Khanous comes up to the edge of the box. His effort is blocked. Celtic clear, only half away though. Stieler, who has it, stabs it back out to that far side for Wagnermann. Level with the edge of the Celtic box. Back then there it goes to Karazor, and eventually into the centre circle for Chabot. But 30 seconds left of the 4 minutes that were added. Stuttgart 2-1 up and looking quite comfortable right now.
Yeah, I think Celtic will be happy to get into half-time and just sort out what they're going to do with those full-backs who are really, really high. Just a little tweak around. I think Bernardo needs to sit a little bit more also, maybe, and do a defensive role.
Ball is rolled out to Wagnermann on the far side. But I make that time up, and the Belgian referee agrees. Half-time here in Glasgow. Celtic find themselves behind at the break in this first leg in the Europa League knockout playoff round. Celtic started pretty positively, but they found themselves behind. The Moroccan El Khanous rifling home. Schmeichel dived to his left. Wasn't decisive, though the shot wasn't directly into the corner. So perhaps the goalkeeper should have done better there. We'll let the guys chew the fat over that at the interval. Celtic level through Benjamin Nygren after a blunder at the back involving the skipper Karazor. Nygren found himself in on goal. He went round the goalkeeper and rolled it home calmly to give Celtic what was at the time a deserved equaliser. El Canis was at it again. A cross came into the Celtic box. It was deflected. It fell kindly for the Stuttgart player, and he grabbed his second as he nodded it past Schmeichel into that bottom right corner again. Celtic have struggled to fashion opportunities since then. Stuttgart always look a threat. Martin O'Neill's side in a hole, as they have been in the last 3 games against Dundee, Livingston and Kilmarnock. They emerged from all 3 of those despite the adversity, and they've got work to do here in the first leg of this Europa League tie. Half-time at Celtic Park. It is Celtic 1, VfB Stuttgart 2.
Celtic in the UEFA Europa League.
Live on Sports Sound.
From BBC Radio Scotland. 6 nations.
5 fierce rivals.
4 points for a win.
3 away fixtures.
2 at home.
And 1 lone piper atop the stands at Murrayfield. Wales versus Scotland, live from Cardiff in the Six Nations Championship. Listen this Saturday from 4 p.m. on BBC Radio Scotland Extra and Sounds. We're ready to go.
The Scotland rugby side proving that anything can happen in sport right now. Celtic struggling at half-time against VfB Stuttgart. The last 16 feels a long way away in the Europa League right now, but things can change very quickly in football, and Celtic just a goal behind as it stands at half-time. What magic can Martin O'Neill conjure at half-time in his 1000th game in charge? We shall see. In terms of the Europa League playoffs this evening, I'll take you through the scorelines from the other matches. Brandenburgen, they lost at home 1-0 this evening to Lewis Ferguson's Bologna in the first leg in Norway. Dinamo Zagreb, they also lost at home to Genk 3-1. And it was a great night for the away side so far, with Nottingham Forest winning 3-0 away at Fenerbahce and Celta Vigo winning 2-1 at PAOK. Greg Taylor's PAOK, of course. And in terms of the half-time score, so those are the 4 matches that have already been played to a completion this evening. 4 matches at half-time at the moment. Celtic obviously trailing Stuttgart 2-1, so another away victory on the cards if it stays the same way. And same in Lille, where Red Star are 1-0 up at half-time. In terms of the other 2 matches, they are both tied at half-time. Ludogorets 1, Ferencvaros 1, and Panathinaikos are also drawing 1-1 with Victoria Pilsen. But of course, our focus is very much here in Glasgow this evening at Celtic Park, and Celtic trailing VfB Stuttgart by 2-1. Plenty to talk about with Pat Bonner and James McFadden. And Pat, I wonder if I can come to you first, and I wonder if you've managed to see any replays yet of the first Stuttgart goal. Kasper Schmeichel, we discussed them before the match, and it has to be said, we've watched the replays here in the studio. As you guys said in commentary, it's not quite in the corner, it's quite close to the keeper. It's down to Kasper Schmeichel's left-hand side, and it did feel like he should have saved it for a keeper of his quality, Pat. And I take it that's your view, having just seen it the once.
Yeah, we've just seen it once, and you know, I was very much focused on the situation right before it, when the ball comes back to him and he kicks it. It almost just clears his lines, but kicks it away up into the air, and the ball drops down about 18, but maybe about 45 yards out. And that ball should have been up over the halfway line and then clear your lines. And that then, the situation, the next part comes from that. And yes, of course, I think, you know, James called it better maybe than I, because I was kind of almost annoyed with what I seen just before that. And that ball goes in almost on his left shoulder. And it wasn't very far away from him, and he probably should have made the mistake. I would love to see it again just to see what kind of pace and how far away was he from it initially.
It wasn't a hard shot, no.
So that's 2. I would put that down to his 2 kind of almost errors from Schmeichel from that perspective. I think just they were doing well, Celtic. I thought they were playing that ball down the channel. They were getting higher up the pitch. I thought Sevenchara was doing well. There was about 3 or 4 balls played down there. That got them up, and they got into the game, and they were controlling. And then the first time the ball goes back, and they end up making a double error, and they end up losing the goal. And even the second goal was they were pinned back at the edge of the box. But you've got to be able to defend that situation also. You know, and that to me, and Celtic haven't created a lot. They got their goal probably. They got a bit of luck there for that goal, but they haven't really. I can't remember them having real clear-cut chances. And they've had. I think it's a tactical situation out of half-time. They've got to get right. You know, you can maybe change players, you can do all that, and you can motivate players. But I think they've got to look at the game very carefully and sort out the issues that we were talking about during that commentary. What Undav picking up a sort of a position, not quite up against Scales, but in between Scales and Tierney. Tierney pulled in, fullback pushed forward. When the ball's on the opposite side, then that fullback was getting way high up the pitch, and you were asking Tonekti, who's not a defensive type player, to do a shift for you, and I think he's struggling in that department.
James McFadden, Kasper Schmeichel, to go back to that, you spoke before the match started about how you felt he's quite lucky still to be number one between the sticks for Celtic right now, and obviously question marks over him at the Kilmarnock game at the weekend, and now this goal he's let in. I mean, what do you think Martin O'Neill will be thinking at this point?
I don't think he'll be thinking about changing him. I think that, you know, I'm the same as Pat. I've only seen it once. I felt at the time that it wasn't that powerful. It wasn't in the corner. And my initial reaction is that he should be saving it. The thing for me is, and Pat touched on it with the header at the weekend, and the goal against Bologna that comes down the middle, it's to me as if he's not expecting shots to come at him, which I find strange for a goalkeeper. It's like he's not set for the eventuality that, or the possibility that a shot could come from anywhere, and he's expecting defenders to stop every shot. That's impossible. He needs to be ready and expect the shots, and I just felt at that point that he should have saved it. I don't think it's not a difficult save for him to make. I know that, you know, it's been documented about his issues with his left shoulder. I think that would make you, if you're, I've never played in goal since I was about 7-year-old, but when you're carrying a knock, you're almost more concentrated, and of course at times you do try and protect it, but then, you know, I'd imagine for a goalkeeper, Pat can answer this, to protect that would mean that your footwork needs to be spot on. You need to be ready for anything. You need to be expecting shots to come at you, because the way football is now with analysis, that there'll be teams looking and saying it appears to be a weakness down his left hand side.
Yeah, I'm coming in on it, and in this again I'm going to ask you, Jonathan, because we've only seen it once. Was he on the move, or was his weight on his right hand side?
I need to watch it again to be sure on that.
I knew that was going to be there.
No, I mean,
because it looked as if he's almost going one way and then has to change direction and go the opposite way. Now it was a shot from the edge of the box, and James rightly says the key in all of these situations is you're absolutely stationary. You're in contact with the ground, but you're on the balls of your feet. And then when the ball comes in, because you can't anticipate what side it's going to go, then you're ready to go both ways. But if you move in any direction or anticipate the shot maybe going to your right, and then you've got to change. And I think that maybe when I look at it and refer back to it now, I think that's what's happened to him. He's almost gone a little bit right. Have a look at it, Jonathan, and come back with your answer.
I will undoubtedly get another replay before half-time is out. We've had
we need Tom English in that studio. We need him.
he's moonshining away at the Six Nations.
He's what?
Moonlighting, sorry, moonshining. Like I'm on the moonshine.
Is that why you couldn't see the goal again, Jonathan? You
just probably on the moonshine.
Blind drunk, yeah, indeed. No, moonlighting. I'm sure we'll have Tom back
that soon. Kind of moonshining I'm talking about either.
Yes, thanks for that, Faddy. In terms of the Celtic reply, 6 minutes later, Stuttgart skipper Atakan Karazor with that slack pass, and Benjamin Nygren with his 18th goal of the season. In terms of positives from a Celtic point of view, Pat, I mean, he's doing well in terms of his goals tally, but what do you make of him overall as a player?
Well, listen, he does that well. He gets into great positions and he's always a threat in goal. And he took his goal really, really well because he's come up and there's a 1v1 with the goalkeeper and he just drops his shoulder and goes round him. That's like normally a striker would be very good at that. I used to hate them 1v1s myself up against the likes of James McFadden and they would take the mickey out of you. But at the end of the day, he did it really, really well on that occasion. It was a simple tap-in. But, he's asked tonight, when Celtic press, to be almost like another striker. He's pushed really high up the pitch to try to put a bit of pressure. And that's where the goal came from. He's not going to be a player that's going to be in the middle of the pitch and get a ball and link the game and do all of it. He'll do his bit, but he's not that type of player. I think he's good getting in the box when Celtic have control of the ball. That's not the issue. Nygren got his goal. The issue for Celtic is down the wide areas, especially on the left-hand side with Tinecti. I was just talking to James about it. He is an impact player. Given the ball when you've got control of the game and forward positions, he'll do his bit and he'll do all that. But when you're asking him to have to do a real defensive job up against a German team who pushes their fullbacks really high up the pitch, and Tierney's on the inside, has to come in the inside because Undav is picking up a really very intelligent position, then he has a job to do. Even when the ball's on the opposite side, when they're high up the pitch, then he's on the back post and has to defend, and you see him trying to defend a big tall fullback coming up there. It's not what you want, and I don't know whether Martin would maybe change it and put Yang onto that position, have a wee bit more strength about him, and bet a wee bit more on the defensive side. We were just talking about James about it at half time.
On that, Jonathan, when you're playing that position in the left wing, or if you're on the right wing, and the fullback is bombing on, if you keep going with him, he will keep going forward, because his job is to either be the spare man or stop you from having an influence in the game. So I understand at times that Tinecki is not reluctant, but his mindset will be, right, well, actually if we win it here, he's 10 yards behind me, I can drive forward. So it's the game, the old cliche, the cat and mouse. It's making sure that you're in a position to affect it. As Pat rightly says, though, it's the position of Undav that's causing the problems, because he's playing in front of Tierney, he's playing right beside him on his right hand side, he's never outside him, trying to affect Scales and Tierney. He's playing a bit deeper to affect Bernardo, which normally if you've got a wide man that wants to come short or come narrow, the opposite wide man, in this case Tinecti, would come in and stand in front of him to allow Tierney to release himself for that switch of play to go and press the fullback. They're just not getting it right. I'm going to put that down to Undav's intelligence to play in that position, because I think he's, without really touching the ball and having that kind of influence, his positioning is causing Celtic loads of problems, and that's stopping them from getting control of that situation. They're deepening off, narrowing up. Then Stuttgart have the overload on each side. So that's sometimes your dilemma when you play in the wide area. Do I keep going, or can I get it and drive forward and make him run back the way?
James, we're talking about Bernardo here. He's come in. He's done okay tonight. He's linked up at times and so on, but he's come into a game not playing a lot. For me, I think maybe if he goes 10 yards deeper, it's almost in contact with Undav, then that leaves Tierney to go 5 yards further wide, and he can maybe hit the full-back instead of Tinecti having to go back. Well, if you win the ball, then Tinecti's free. Yeah,
he's playing beside Callum McGregor, so it's a 4-2-3-1, at times a 4-4-2, but he's the one that's beside McGregor, and Nygren's more advanced. Normally it's McGregor with two advanced, so maybe that lack of match sharpness is having an impact on his decision or knowing where to be in that situation.
Very interesting. I was just going to let you guys chat on there as I got back to my moonshine, but I've got the whole second half to enjoy that, that's for sure. Bilal El Kanous, the 21-year-old Moroccan, with both goals for Stuttgart. We'll see him again in Boston on the 19th of June at the World Cup, I'm sure. 32 caps for Morocco, on loan from Leicester City. Will Celtic improve in this second half? We're about to find out in the company of Pat Bonner, James McFadden and Liam McLeod.
Well, he'll certainly hope to be playing against Scotland in the World Cup, given he played in all but one of Morocco's World Cup qualifying matches. 6 appearances at AFCON as well, including a start in the final. He's impressed. He has the 2 goals for Stuttgart as Celtic kick off the second half in the green and white hoops, going from right to left as we watch on the main stand here towards the Jockstein stand already, as the ball drops back to the goalkeeper. New bell, Celtic on the attack. No changes for either team at the start of the second 45. So Celtic line up with Schmeichel in goal. It is Araujo, Trusty, Scales and Tierney, Bernardo, McGregor, Nygren, Maida, Tinekti, Chvanchara. As the ball comes back to Kasper Schmeichel, who bowls it underarm with the right to the left. Scales to Tierney up the line for Tinekti. Covering on this near side is Jeltsch, who lets it go out for a throw-in to Stuttgart, who also send out the same 11 as started. So Martin O'Neill resisting the temptation to go to his bench at this early stage. But I think it's crucial that Celtic score the next goal in this tie. As it's shifted out to the left there for Chabot. Out it comes to Maida, gets Stuttgart give it away, and then surely with a foul on Chvanchara at the angle of the box. The ref's letting Celtic play on here. Araujo's cross is blocked and it bounces out onto that far side for a throw-in front of the north stand, level with the Stuttgart penalty spot. Araujo to take.
Great chance for Araujo to get that ball into the box and hits the first defender. I know they get a throw-in and they keep pressure on Stuttgart, but that was a really good opportunity for him early on in this game.
It's now with Bernardo for Celtic wide on the right. Dummy from Nygren. Maida drives into the box, holds up his run. Eventually the cross from Araujo, and that's going to be an offside rather than a Celtic corner, which is what they were hoping for there. Stuttgart free kick. Stuttgart with a 2-1 lead.
It's a good pass from Paulo Bernardo, fired into the feet of Dyson Maida, makes his mind up for him. He needs to open his body and take the touch forward, which he does. I feel then he can just flash that across goal, or go for goal himself, fire it across the goalkeeper, force him into a save. You might have Chvanchara, Tinekti getting in on the rebound, but it was good from Bernardo. And Celtic have started this second half more aggressive again.
Started the first half quite aggressively. The goals took the wind out of their sails as Maida picks up, wins the throw-in on the far side, level with the edge of the D of the Stuttgart box.
I think it's what they've had to do, Liam. Sorry, I think that, you know, they got to a stage where they couldn't really clear, you know, from the 18-yard box up to the halfway line at times, but mostly in and around the 18-yard box. So as much as we're, you know, praising Stuttgart for having at times 5 on that back line of Celtic, it means that Celtic have a spare man. If they can beat that press, then they can go and get control of the game.
Scales for Celtic finds Tierney, low ball back in field to McGregor, who goes back to Scales, who goes back to Schmeichel. The edge of his box, rolls it to his right for Trusty and onto the touchline for Araujo. It's been faced over there on the far side by Leveling. Comes back to Trusty and goes back to Schmeichel, and then he smashes it forward high with the right foot up to the halfway line. Met in the chest there by Chabot for Stuttgart. One back by Dyson Maida, back to Araujo, clip ball forward for Chvanchara. Now he's got a bit of space to work, and if he can get the ball under control, Stuttgart funneling back, but still it's at the feet of Chvanchara, level with the penalty spot. It's a high looping ball to the back post looking for Tinekti. It's flicked away, and indeed a foul by Sebastian Tinekti, and a free kick to Stuttgart inside their own box. It stays Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2.
Yeah, it's a lovely cross, good play from Chvanchara down the right hand side, great timing of the run he's played on down that, you know, hit Stuttgart right hand side by Jeltsch, but he looks it to the back post. Tinekti, no conviction really, he's just jumping in to, I think it is actually Jeltsch that gets back in. He's just jumping into him to almost make it awkward. It's a poor foul to give away, a really cheap one.
Jeltsch driving out of defence, rolls it over to the left hand side. It's going to be a long ball by Hendricks down there. McGregor gets there first just before levelling. And a little bit of help from Araujo. Does McGregor, goes back to Trusty, he finds Scales inside his own box and flicks it out to Tierney and up the line for Tinekti. Tinekti under pressure. Was he fouled? Yes, he was, but there's an advantage to Celtic as the ball's up to Chvanchara. Man on loan from Borussia Mönchengladbach is hauled to the ground there by Chabot, who is yellow carded, and he's out of next week. Chabot will miss the return leg.
He's a big player for them. You know, that was a good play again from Chvanchara. That's how they started off the first half, playing balls down the side. I think that's been reiterated to them at half time to keep doing that if you can, because that gets them high up the pitch, and then they end up getting into good positions.
And it comes from Callum McGregor winning the ball back, reading the game brilliantly. Celtic going from right back out to left back. Tierney playing a little pass into Tinekti, who lays it back, and then it's forward to Chvanchara up front, holds it in well. wrestles, gets away from Chabot, gets his team a foul. It's good play.
Celtic have it wide in the right with Araujo. Rolls it to the right of the centre circle for Trusty, and field to McGregor, who finds Scales. It's the Stuttgart supporters you can hear in the background. Good contingent of them off to our right. And Celtic pick up a throw in on the far side. Most of the game's been played in the Stuttgart half since the turnaround.
Yeah, I think Stuttgart will be very happy to go back to home with a result here, and a result is a win for them. They don't have to...
Any kind of win.
Yeah, they don't have to overcommit themselves in the second half, but they will take another goal if they can find it.
Bernardo rolls it to Scales. First time low ball forwards, poor, given away, but he gets a second chance because Yelts has given it straight back to him. Out in the near side touchline, Tierney back to Scales, hits it with the left foot, clipped up to the halfway line, and the header. And Chabot is out for a throw into Celtic on this near side. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2. In the second half of the first leg of this Europa League knockout playoff round tie. It's
I just wonder,
tie that they've always struggled with, Celtic, in recent years. Packy.
Yeah, I was just going to say to James, I just wonder whether Celtic could go with the two up front at times, and that might change them and get the full-backs having
what a run this is from Araujo, all the way into the box. Leaves it for Maida. Araujo's still an option. Chip ball comes in, can't find Chvanchara, and it's cleared. Great chance for Celtic. Fabulous run by Julian Araujo, who's on it again wide in the right. Short ball in field to McGregor. Looks up at the Stuttgart box, drops the shoulder. Out to Araujo on the right, gets the cross in, and it's headed away and behind for the corner by the captain, Carazor. Wonderful driving run by Araujo, and that just gets everyone up, doesn't it?
Oh, it's an incredible run. I mean, the space just opens up to him, but the speed and the power that he drives through. And I think he's unlucky. There may well be a last-ditch challenge that takes him out his stride to then go to Maida, where he may well have driven in and get a shot away. But it's a tremendous run, and as you say, gives everyone a lift in here.
In comes the corner, looping from Tierney. It's punched away by the goalkeeper. Well, that'll be a foul as well, I would imagine. No,
I think he touched the ball.
Tinekti, he's won the ball yet. Tinekti has it in this near side. The Stuttgart man stayed down. Tinekti attacking the left side of the box, goes into the area now moves to the byline, fires it across, and it clips the bar and goes behind for the goal kick, and stays Celtic 1, Stuttgart 2. Really good stuff though since half-time from the home team.
Yeah, listen, he took the defender on that time, got to the bell, and I thought the cross was poor though. Yeah. You know, it's high and was never going to trouble the goalkeeper. He's got to get into a
fabulous position, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to get into an area where somebody's coming in, hitting that near post.
I agree the cross is poor, but I like the fact that he's won the ball back and he's driving onto his left foot, because we know he loves to get onto his right, either lay it back, get crosses, get shots in. But when you're up against a defender, you need to make him think that he doesn't know what you're going to do. So even just taking it down the left, the cross can be better, yes, but I like the fact that he's taking him on down that left hand side, because if he keeps doing that, it'll buy him space to cut inside and get, you know, where he wants to be.
Scales out to Tierney on the near side, back to Scales, goes back to Schmeichel at the edge of his box. Celtic trailing in this first leg, giving a good account of themselves at the moment. Nygren back to McGregor, first time ball forward towards Maida, can't get onto it though. It's well defended, Maida still trying to get there, but excellent defended by Hendricks though. He is ransacked in the midfield, and Nygren comes forward to Chvanchara. Tinekti out to his left, lays it back to Tierney instead, makes his way into the box. Tierney has it, leaves it for Tinekti, controls with the undersole, rolls it infield to Nygren. Poor touch from Benjamin Nygren, and then a foul by the Swede. And it all breaks down for Celtic. Free kick Stuttgart, the edge of their own box. 2-1 to the Germans.
That's a great opportunity. The run from Maida's different class. Callum McGregor, if that's in his left foot, you know that's going to be inch perfect for him. He plays it with his right. It's good defending from Hendricks, and then Celtic managed to keep it alive. I don't really understand players that control the ball with the sole of their foot. It needs to be absolutely spot on. It actually, the other thing, it stops the ball if you do it right, which means then you need to, but you're not in a balanced position to move it again. Right. I think if he either goes and he can stop that with his instep, but knowing that he can then shift. But if you stop that with your foot on top of the ball, there's nowhere for he's controlling it with his left, there's nowhere your right foot can go, because then you're standing on the ball.
It's fancier looking though, isn't it?
Yeah, but well, it depends if you like that sort of thing. I just think just control the ball with your instep, or the outer part of your foot, where you can still move the ball, you're still in balance. Just stops you and the ball. Means you need to then move again.
The match against Utrecht, throughout the game we were looking at the as it stands league phase table, and Celtic could have won from any number of opponents. The winner of this tie will face Porto or Braga, who finished 5th and 6th in the league phase respectively in the last 16. The draw will determine which next Friday after Thursday's second legs, as well as the groupings for the remainder of the tournament from the quarters onwards. So the path will become clear for whoever comes through this tie on the road to Istanbul. Throw in Celtic on this near side. Tierney's over it. Level with the edge of the D of his own box, main stand side. The Celtic fans are imploring Sebastian Tinecti to come into a better position to get onto this throw. And ultimately Tierney's just bowled it straight off the head of Karazor, and Stuttgart have it back, and they're driving forward here with Nemanovic. Left by Undav, chance just outside the box, and there's another goal! Schmeichel's beaten from distance yet again! It's a wonderful strike in the end from Leveling, as the Stuttgart players go to celebrate in front of their fans, but yet more question marks at the Celtic number 1. And the scoreline now, it's a long way back for the Scottish champions, because it is Celtic 1, VfB Stuttgart 3.
It was a good strike, pace on it, down to his right hand side this time, and just couldn't get down quick enough to get a hand to it to keep it out. Did it go underneath his body? Or
I think he gets a hand to it, Pat, but just not enough. I think he misreads it again. It's difficult, you're only seeing it once, but for me he should save it again. There is more power on this strike, it is down to his right hand side, but I think that I don't think it's too much to ask a goalkeeper of his quality to be able to keep that out. And you know, the frustrating part for Celtic is it comes from their throw-in. You just mentioned, you know, they're asking Tinecki, can he get into a better position? Can someone come and get a little, you know, bounce pass back to Tierney, where they either go up the line to Chivinchara or they go out the other side and they keep the ball, but they just throw it up the line, they lose it. Fair play to Stuttgart, they're aggressive. Nemanovic does really well, plays a square pass, it's a shot from 20-25 yards. I think Schmeichel has to save it. Another one.
Long ball forward from Schmeichel. And it's a long way back for Celtic now. 3-1 down at home, and here comes Stuttgart again, and they're in again, left hand side, it's number 4! Demirovic scores, and Stuttgart score twice in 90 seconds to all but send Celtic spiralling out of Europe in spectacular style. The number 9 racing in at the left angle in the 6-yard box, dispatches it into the top right corner past Schmeichel, and Celtic are all but out of the Europa League. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 4 before the hour mark.
Yeah, lovely bit of play from Stuttgart around the edge of the box, give and go, got in far too easily, but this time Schmeichel probably had no chance. He's gone to ground a little bit, but he bends it up high and over him into that top left-hand corner.
I mean, Celtic started this half well,
yeah,
and that third goal seems to have affected them, because you know, straight away it goes from 3 to 4, and that is, you know, maybe being disorganised, shot potentially.
Possible offside here.
No, that'd be a let-off.
It'll be a massive let-off, so offside check is underway. Celtic, as it stands, are 3 behind. So they're going to struggle to come from 2 behind. If they go 3 behind, then it's all but over, you would feel. The referee is chatting to the 2 captains. Big moment coming in here. Celtic have got to hope that this is ruled out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and listen,
subs are ready as well.
If it's not ruled out, then it's going to be a really long second half. You know, 4-1 down. You know, it is offside.
Offside. It stays 3-1. So forget what I said there about it being over and out for Celtic. They are still in with a chance. They're still a long way behind as it stands. 2 goals down, but it could have been worse, and they've just dodged a bullet.
Yeah, and they need to take it as a positive.
Yeah,
it could have been 4. It's not. It's 3-1. They still have an opportunity to regroup, because they've looked decent this second half.
Need the next goal. They need the next goal. Tenecti just outside the Stuttgart box, in field to Bernardo. Now McGregor out to Tierney. Back to Callum McGregor. Left foot ball back to Scales. Rio Hatate is going to be on. There's going to be other changes as well. Ball towards Araujo. Leaves it for Maida, who then flicks it between his 2 feet and out for a Stuttgart throw-in. Yang will be on too. So you would imagine Hatate for Bernardo.
Yang for Tenecti, maybe.
Yeah, I would think so. It's obvious.
Not Maida.
Yeah, it could be, but I just think you've always got the threat of Maida's pace. Tenecti has had little moments. Well, there you go. It's Maida.
It is Maida. Yeah. He's been, compared to last season, Paddy, he's been so poor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Yang's been good and that's why you keep him on. It's because you've that threat with the pace.
Yeah, but the thing about Maeda, though, you know, I think he's better off the left-hand side. There's no question for me. That's the area where he's shown all his ability over. Even when he was going well, he was playing off that side and he was making those runs.
Stuttgart throw-in midway inside their own half. It's the first changes in the game. As a long ball comes through, and defending here for Tenecti, and he's done well, and he had to, because Wagnerman was right behind him. Found Trusty at the edge of his box, goes back to Schmeichel, and rolls it out to Trusty on the far side. Forward to Nygren, and then out to Araujo, and then back to Schmeichel.
That's the Stuttgart fans, I think, giving him a little bit of a stick when the ball goes back to him.
Yeah, but there's our Celtic supporters who don't want him in the team anymore.
Yeah, but that's
for sure.
They still have to support him.
Oh, of course, but the goals that are going by him just now, he wouldn't have gone by him maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
A year ago.
Yeah. Hatate brought to the ground by Demirovic, just inside his own half. Celtic have a free kick, and it's Tierney taking it quickly and rolling it back to Scales. 63 almost on the clock then. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
I know what you're saying, Pat, and I agree with you about the support. And I've played outfield when you're having moments like that, and you do feel alone, but you know you've got teammates really close by. What does it feel like as a goalkeeper? Have you ever been through that feeling?
Listen, you make mistakes, of course, and you're going through periods when you're not playing well.
There's Tenecti, the edge of the box is Hatate, rolls it to Nygren, takes a touch, shoots, great save, still alive. Chvanchara back to Tenecti, left side of the box, drops the shoulder on his right side, little back heel for Tierney, pulls it back to Tenecti, shoots wildly wide, and it stays. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3 on 63 and a half.
That's the difference. Goalkeeper comes up with a big save.
That's a top save.
Top save down to his right hand side, uses body really strong, gets a hand there, and keeps the ball out, and that's the difference. But no, listen, going back to your point, there is times when you go through bad periods, there's no question about that, but when you get a little bit older, it's very difficult to come back from that, because you know your reflexes goes a little bit, maybe your fitness has gone a little bit too, so all of those things matter, and when you're young, it's more about maybe decision making and so on.
Free kick Stuttgart in the middle of the park there, a foul on Undav.
It's a little glimmer for Celtic. They work it well down the left hand side. Nygren, no surprise, he's the one that looks lightly, and it's a tremendous save, you have to say, from Newbelt. Comes back to Tenecti, and he'd worked the space, he'd worked the half yard. I thought he could have got his shot away the first time. He plays the back heel to Tierney, it's a bit short, then comes back to him and he forces it, cuts across it, goes for power. Wow.
I was looking down at the touchline, but I just saw a ball looping back towards Kasper Schmeichel.
The ball's coming over the top. Scales is running back, not trying to play it, just trying to shepherd it back to Schmeichel as he plants his left foot in his running motion. It hits off it and nearly goes to the side of Kasper Schmeichel. Nearly a howling own goal.
He kicks Celtic meantime right in the centre circle.
But then that's the other thing now. Schmeichel's edgy now. You know, he comes out when he probably should stay back. But
it's just that would have been a freak. Scales is running back. He's not
communication though. Maybe did he?
No, he never tried to play it. No. He's just running and it's hit his foot. He's allowing that to go to Schmeichel, and it just hits his foot and almost goes by. He isn't trying to play it. It would have been a freak.
Celtic have it with Konecki on the left-hand side. He's now about level with the 18-yard line of Stuttgart. Cuts back onto his right side, as he loves to do, dances along the 18-yard line and then balloons one high over the bar. It's the Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3. The one thing you would say is really positive play by Sebastian Konecki, even though he's had a nightmare with the previous shot and he's done it again there. It's another wild effort. He's coming back for more. He keeps showing for it.
And that is key. You know, he's had a tough first half and that he's had to defend for most of it, and he's maybe been stuck in what position to be, and that's when I talk about playing the cat and mouse. Look, Stuttgart have got a 2-goal cushion. They're not going to be, you know, pushing bodies forward, but he's allowed to then get high, and maybe that's instruction. Stay high, try and drag him back, and he's cut inside. Again, he does really well to work the space. Doesn't get the shot right. We've seen him, you know, he's more than capable. Nygren had made an outstanding run just inside him. If he could get his head up and play that pass, and maybe that's something for him to think about the next time, because he will get inside again. He will have that same opportunity.
Here he comes again. Konecki down the left, attacking the left angle of the box. Konecki, this time he goes on his left side, aiming for the byline, but it's going to be shepherded behind strongly by Wagnerman.
Yeah,
it will be a goal kick to Stuttgart. 3-1 to Stuttgart.
Sorry, Liam. He's not going to beat Wagnerman what his strength anyway, that's for sure. He's a big man, gets himself between the ball and Konecki and just shields it out for a throw in. But Celtic are, you know, again, it's a bit like the first half. There are periods of the game they've been really in it. You know, they're putting pressure on, they're getting into great positions.
They're conceding goals at home far too often, and you know, this is Celtic standard we're talking about here. But they've kept 9 clean sheets, and it'll be 21 games at home this season in all competition. And that's almost half. But normally, you know, there's a couple of games where opposition teams manage to score a goal or two, but such regularity it's been happening. And it's good defending over on the right this time by Yang, but his ball forward's poor and it's straight to Szabo.
It's not a ball to play into his feet, though. It's one where you play, and Shivanchari should have been running down the side again, because the space is all in behind him.
I think he was looking for it down the side. I don't know if Yang has to play it as early as he does. You know, he does really well, great position, blocks the pass. I think he's got a chance to drive forward, and then, you know, he's playing a 25-30 yard pass maybe into the feet of Chivanchara, who, even if he's in the right position, all he can do is hold it up and wait for support. If he takes that another 5-10 yards further forward, he can maybe bounce it off him and, you know, create that chance to counter.
Tierney crosses the halfway line on this near side. We played 68 minutes, less than a quarter of this first leg left. Stuttgart leading by 3-1. And it's McGregor in the centre circle, rolling it to the right for Trusty with the left foot low along the grass, out to the right touchline for Yang, who drives towards the box. Good play by Yang, and there he goes. He's past 2, pulls it back, and it's blocked inside the 6-yard box and behind for the corner. Really fabulous swashbuckling play by Yang there, and it draws the corner only.
Yeah, really good play, dynamic, you know, inside, outside, and he's just waiting to pull that ball back to somebody, but they had blocked off that sort of almost near post area, and he just gets his corner. But good play.
Outstanding from Yang, and that's exactly what you need. Exactly what Celtic need, another player that can go and drive and commit players and create space.
Tierney with the corner, bends it into a good area, it's headed half away. Hatate tries to nod it back towards goal. He's fouled his man though, and that's going to be a free kick to Stuttgart inside their box, and attention for the 2 players because of the head knock. And both have suffered. Stuttgart are going to make a couple of changes. Chris Furyk, who's a German international, will come on, and it looks as though the Dane Nicholas Narty is going to come on as well, in what will be a double change for the visitors, who continue to lead this by 3-1. Remember, an action-packed few days coming up tomorrow on the BBC Scotland television channel from Starks Park. It's Wraith Rovers against St Johnstone in the Championship. And then on Saturday, back here on the radio, Hearts Falkirk will head up the coverage. The league leaders taking on the Scottish Cup quarter-finalists, and also as part of the card, Aberdeen Dundee, St Mirren Motherwell and Dundee United Kilmarnock. That St Mirren Motherwell game, it's a later kick-off. And on Sunday, back here at Celtic Park, where Hibernian are the visitors and Livingston host Rangers. highlights and sports scene in both evenings. Celtic pick up the ball with McGregor, out to Araujo on the far side. Celtic are going to bring on Kelechi Iheanacho by the looks of things down below us. He's out for a throw-in, Araujo is over it. Still Stuttgart wait to make that double change. Down below us, so the Celtic change first. Nygren coming off to be replaced by McCowan, and it will be Iheanacho for Chvanchara. Matt Bonner.
Yeah, I think just Martin's looking maybe at Nygren to give him a wee bit of a rest. Maybe the other games coming up, I would say that's the only thing, because he's done okay in the game. Nygren, he's had that shot on goal, and he's worked hard in the middle of the pitch. So McCowan comes on, he will work also hard, and then of course Iheanacho, capable to get a goal, definitely.
Stuttgart taking off their goal scorers. So El Canus, got the two in the first half, will come off. Leveling, who scored their third after El Canus' double. And they're the players to come off. Chris Furyk, 8 times capped for Germany, was on the bench against Scotland at the Euro 2024 opener. Made 1 appearance against Hungary. And the other changes, I say, the Dane, Nicolas Narty, has made his way onto the pitch as well, former Cologne player, and came on late in the cup final victory. He is eligible for Denmark. He's an under-21 international. He's also eligible for Ghana. He's at the age of 25. I'm not sure if the Denmark call's coming anytime soon, but anyway, he's a good player as Tierney picks up on this near side and rolls it back to Scales. So both teams making multiple changes, James.
Yeah, I mean, not surprised, you know, with any of them, because for Stuttgart's point of view, it's just a little bit of freshness, maybe, you know, protection for key players and the fixtures that they have. For Celtic, Iheanacho will get a hold of the ball, different profile to Chvanchara, not really probably able to make the same runs in behind, but normally when the ball comes up it sticks. I'm a bit surprised that Nygren's come off, because he does look the most likely to score again, and he's I know he scored earlier, he's in that type of form that he doesn't, as long as he does his work for the team positionally, he does well. He doesn't really need to get involved, but you know he's always going to pop up in an area.
10 goals and 15 appearances for him now.
Yeah, the only reason why I think he's taken him off is just to keep his legs right for the games coming up, because they've got a big schedule. But I think you're right, he's the one that's capable of scoring.
It is back with Scales, who goes back to Schmeichel. What a few weeks it is for Celtic. I'd love to get at least 1 goal back here and go to Germany, even if they're 1 behind, and they do have that glimmer. 2 down. Stuttgart will be heavy favourites.
Liam, the thing is, they've actually played pretty well.
Yeah, it's not been worst performance in Europe this season. McCowan comes forward, rolls it through, and it doesn't quite make it to Yang. It's cut out, and it's picked up here by Narty, who drives it down the left-hand side, and chasing after that one there is his fellow Furyk. Rolls it back to the edge of the box to Mirovic. Across the 18-yard line, he can't find a teammate. It's gone straight to Tierney, who likes to go back to Schmeichel.
Yeah, I thought McGregor did really well there. I thought he was going to get done with the speed, but he actually just kept going and used his body really well.
Another change coming for Stuttgart. We'll get to that in a moment. Another 2 changes coming for them. Celtic have it with Tinekti on the left-hand side. We're on 74 minutes, 3-1 Stuttgart. Tinekti forward into the box for Iheanacho. It's ball back to Tinekti's block, breaks back to Hatate. His efforts blocked and about 8 yards from goal. Some Celtic supporters shouted for a penalty for handball there.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to shout. That happened so fast, couldn't see it. Clearly they don't have monitors to have another look at it, but it seemed to be the whole stadium. Normally it's maybe the group of fans behind the goals that can see it, and the other ones claiming, but it seemed to be the whole stadium.
Yeah, it did look as if maybe his hand maybe was down by the side, by his thigh, and he was able to, referee called it right.
Hatate gets it from Yang right at the centre circle. Aim the rods forwards, a little chip ball through there for McCowan, turns away from goal, rolls it back to Yang, who plays it infield to Hatate, and now with Scales then squares it for McGregor. and out to Araujo, and down the line for Yang. Yang attacking his man, gets to the byline, fires it across. A great take by Newbell. Sticky fingers there at the near post as he holds on. 15 minutes to play in the 90. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
He had to keep his eye on it, hadn't he? You know, it was pace.
Yeah.
You know, if it was maybe low, I think that's what he was trying to do. He had it over, you know, that 6-yard box with a bit of pace, but low. But he caught it quite high, and it was straight at the face of Noble, and he was able to get his hands up quickly and grab it.
It's straight at him, but it's awkward because he's expecting the cross, and the pace that comes in it, he does really well to keep a hold of it. Ian Acho there, just in case he drops it or tries to do the old catch and bounce to take the sting out of it. Good goalkeeping, you have to say.
Stuttgart in possession over on the left side there with Chabot. Ball into the Celtic half. Scales defends it well against Demirovic. Now it's McGregor for Hatate. Back to McGregor, forward to Hatate, and then into Stuttgart territory for McCowan on the turn. Play by McCowan initially. It's left for Hatate. McCowan switches the play out to Tierney on this near side. Tierney in field to Hatate. Now finds Ian Acho. He scored in Celtic's first Europa League game of the season when they drew in Serbia against Red Star. Goes back to Trusty and out to that right-hand touchline for Yang Hyun-jun, driving forward again. He's done well since coming on. McCowan through for Hatate. His effort at goal's blocked. And Stuttgart can clear to Newbell. Long ball, but it's straight to Trusty. And Celtic find a goal.
I agree with James though. They played well. You know, the goals that they given up was, you know, poor goals, you've got to say, but overall I think they played well in this game, and even now they're pinning Stuttgart back and keeping the pressure on them.
I think sometimes you lose games and you can say, oh, you know, if you prevent that, then you can stop.
There's a chance. Good ball by Tierney out wide left. Oh, Tinekte's cross is dreadful. He's off balance as he tried to knock it into the box, and it shanked behind for the goal kick. And it will stay Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3 on 77 minutes. Changes coming then, and it will be Demirovic will come off to be replaced by Tiago Tomas, a Portuguese. Began his career at Sporting Club, scored the winner against Aberdeen in the Europa League qualifiers in 2021 for Sporting. Sirachi replaces Tierney for Celtic. And another change for Stuttgart. We'll see Luca Haques, who is from Switzerland, and he is going to come on. He's a centre back. There's the number 14, and he's come on there for Chabot, who, as I said earlier, is suspended for the second leg, so maybe that's with a view. Sebastian Hoeneß, the Stuttgart boss, just sticking Haques on to give him a feel for the opposition, given he may well be starting in the second leg next Thursday. 12 left at the 90. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
Yeah, Sirachi coming on, obviously for Tierney, a bit of freshness in there. Expect him to go and try and get forward as much as it's a defender that's been changed. I think whenever he's played, he's been really impressive. Sirachi get great energy. Celtic, you know, Pat was just saying, I think they've played well. When you look at the point I was going to make was, is Stuttgart now going the attack again? You can always look at goals and say, you know, if you do that you can prevent it, but it's 2 shots the goalkeeper should save that are the difference in this game at the minute.
There's there's not actually that many shots on target. Stuttgart, it might well be just the 3. I haven't checked the match stats at this point, but it might just be 3 shots on target. And they've all gone in. 1 header and 2 shots.
He shot over the crossbar, I think.
On target though, I don't think there's been. In fact, 3 shots on target they've had, that's confirmed. And they've all gone in for Stuttgart.
Well, 2 of them, for me, should save them. And that has been the difference in the game. Apart from that, I think Celtic played pretty well, without really being able to create chance after chance themselves.
No.
But I think when you're in, talk about momentum and moments in games, when you're in good moments and then, you know, you can see the goal you shouldn't, it can affect you. It can affect the flow of the game.
Chance for Stuttgart here, and Araujo can't get the challenge in. Scales was late to the party there, and the shot is saved by Schmeichel, who holds on. So there's shot on target number 4. This time Tiago Tomas with it, and the Celtic goalkeeper holds on, and it's battered away by Schmeichel. Iheanacho's going to get onto it wide on the right. He's on his own at the moment. What can he make of this? As he tries to work his way in on the right side, pulls it back the way to Yang. Yang then goes back to Araujo. You can hear the Celtic supporters groaning with every ball that's passed back the pitch.
McCowan was the closest to him there. I thought he just kept running, McCowan. He just checks and he holds position, and that allows then Stuttgart players all to get back into position, and then Celtic just force back, and now it's back. The ball's back with Schmeichel.
Final 10 minutes of the 90 at Celtic Park. Celtic trailing Stuttgart by 3-1. And it's now with Scales, who rolls it back to Schmeichel. If they're going to have any chance in the Neckar Stadion next week, they're going to have to score at least once without conceding again, you feel. They did go to Feyenoord and win 3-1 pretty convincingly earlier this season. You would say Stuttgart are a level above the Dutch side. And it's collected in the midfield here by Karasor. And out to the left it goes to Chris Furich down the left-hand touchline. Gets it back immediately. And goes all the way back to Hendricks. It's flicked forward there to Undav. He's looking to get back onto it there. It's blocked by Scales. Now it's with Tenek. He was in the challenge. He's taken a sore one there as he went in on Karasor. And he's grimacing. He's not moving in the centre circle. Tenekti. And Stuttgart will play on here. Karasor, side foot ball forward. He gets it back immediately. There from Narte. The referee is going to stop play to allow attention perhaps for Sebastian Tenekti here. 82 played, Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
Yeah, I think Stuttgart will be happy with the result. You know, taking it back, be very, very happy. 3-1. As I say, Celtic haven't played that badly by any means, and they were in this game. Well in this game, I think, up until that probably third goal went in. They had a chance to maybe pull it back, but third goal then very difficult. You've got to respond very quickly. They weren't able to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that when you look at the goal that was shot off as well, that's huge. Obviously, if it's offside, it's offside, but it was so quick after the third goal that then it could have got messy. It could have got messy for Celtic, but I think overall their general play has been good without looking as dangerous as Martin O'Neill would like. Not testing the goalkeeper Nubel enough potentially, but it was always going to be a tough game. You're not expecting Celtic to be totally dominant against a team like Stuttgart.
No, and the one thing you would say, Celtic have not looked like a team with an inferiority complex tonight.
No, absolutely not. I think that when you look at the start of the game, the start of the second half, aggressive, on the front foot, want to press, believing they can go and win the ball back. Stuttgart managed the situation as well and managed to get control after going ahead. But the second half, I think Celtic have done the same, and they have looked comfortable.
Yeah, but here comes Stuttgart, left-hand side of the Celtic box. Ball's chipped into the area. There's a header wide. It's a chance for Narte. He threw himself into the air 6 yards from goal. It's off target, and it will be a goal kick to Celtic. It stays 3-1 Stuttgart almost on 84 minutes.
I'll tell you, if that ball was on target, I think it's in the back of the net. You know,
it's a free header again.
Yeah, it was a free header in the almost 6 yard box. He's got good enough contact on it too.
Scales inside his own box. Celtic playing short little balls inside their box. Now they've lost it and Stuttgart have it at the edge of their box. Chance here. The shot is blocked there from Furich. Trusty's taking the full brunt of it, and the refs having to stop play again to allow attention to the defender. Martin O'Neill staring at his first defeat at home as Celtic manager since the 30th of April 2005, when they were beaten 3-1 by Hibernian. O'Connor, Sproul and a certain Scott Brown scored for Hibs in that game, and that was the last occasion Martin O'Neill tasted defeat here as Celtic boss. Almost 21 years ago, Stuttgart and that same 3-1 lead as it's picked up on this near side, flick forward there, out to this right side for Thomas. It's a lovely ball out to the left-hand side of the box for Fury, gets it under control eventually, up against Araujo, level with the 6-yard line. They're going to get the cross in as Stuttgart look for a 4th and killer goal. A little ball into the box is cut out, it was from Stieler. Stuttgart picking up all the second balls at the moment, but there's a second ball for Celtic, and McCowan sweeps it forward for Iheanacho. Iheanacho's on the right, he's on his own. He's on his own right now, holds it up. He's got support arriving in the middle from Yang. Still he has it, and he goes back the way to McGregor. Did well to retain possession there, the defenders swarming all round him. Now it's with Sarachi, and he almost found the net with that one. I'm not sure. Pretty sure he wasn't going for goal initially. I'm not sure that would have been in his mind, and he's hit it with the left foot with 35-40 yards from goal, and it clips the roof of the net. Goal kick Stuttgart, 3-1 Stuttgart, less than 5 minutes to play of the 90.
Well, that would have been a right freak goal, James. He had no way that he mean to do that. He tried to clip a ball to the back post, and it's just come off his foot completely wrong, nearly wrong-footed the goalkeeper. He was chasing back, having to almost protect his goal, just got over the crossbar.
There was a moonwalk going on there, wasn't there?
That would have been the best shank you'll ever see from Sarachi. He's trying to whip that to the far post. He's cut across it, and it's turned into this loopy knuckleball that has Nubel absolutely scrambling across his goal. And he'd be delighted to see that drop in, because it wasn't that far away, whether he meant it or not. Sometimes you need a bit of luck, but that would have been the best shank slice you've ever seen in your life.
It is Stuttgart in possession. Stieler on the far side, midway inside the Celtic half. They come now. Was that a push? Was it a push? No, says the referee. It was Araujo's challenge there on Nicolas Narti. Narti wins a header on the far side. Araujo gets back onto it. He's giving it away. Narti into the box, pulls it back. They're looking for their 4th goal. The shot's blocked. They claim handball, and Hitate and Sarachi can't clear. There's another shot blocked by Hitate, and it's picked up by Sarachi on the near side. And Celtic living a bit of a charmed life there. There might be a VAR check to come as it bounces off the corner flag and put out for a throw-in by Sarachi. Down by the corner flag on the near side, less than 3 of the 90 to play. 3-1 Stuttgart. Doesn't look as though there's a lengthy check coming for a penalty here.
What a mess. I mean, Araujo does brilliant initially to win the ball back, and then he just lays a short one to Trusty. Allows Narti to go and drive forward.
They're going to get a corner here as well, Stuttgart.
And they just can't clear it. They get the block in, it comes to the edge. Sarachi's a chance to play a pass, plays it straight back to Undav. That's just a mess at the end.
Corner, Stuttgart. It's all kind of stemmed from that ball from Araujo, which was aimed for Trusty, but instead it went to Narti, and just about set up Stuttgart for a 4th, which they might still get here. Celtic won't have any hope whatsoever. They cannot concede again. Many will feel the tie's over already as Stieler prepares to take the corner, surrounded by Stuttgart supporters. In it comes, headed away by Scales. Good header, volley down into the ground, and it's just wide. Furich with the effort, which skipped towards goal, and it just flashed by the left-hand post, and it will stay Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
Yeah, listen, it was a great ball in with pace, crowded 6-yard box. Scales got a great header on it, actually. Out initially, I thought Schmeichel had been coming punching at or trying to punch it, but he was blocked off, and just then the ball comes to the edge of the box. Anything can happen at that point.
He just bounced into ground, Furich towards the back post, and Thiago Thomas is all alone. He's at full stretch, can't get anything on it. If he does, it's another goal.
They're finishing the game strongly here, Stuttgart. It's Furich to the byline. It's pulled back and lashed over the crossbar by Nardi. Goal kick Celtic. 90th minute. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3.
Yeah, they're finishing strong. I think 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, you're thinking if Celtic can get a goal here, it keeps the tie alive. That certainly makes the job a little bit easier for them to go away, but now you're looking at it saying do not concede another goal. Stuttgart finishing the game strongly.
Yeah, looking for the killer 4th goal. It's Furich on the far side, high ball into the Celtic half. Scales wins it in the centre circle. It's nodded out to this near side when it's picked up by Wagnerman. Could have been quieter in the second half, Wagnerman, as he gives away the free kick on this near side. It's a Celtic ball. Another change coming for Stuttgart, their final one of the evening. Martin O'Neill down there, he's going to know that this is going to be a mountain to climb as we go into the first of 5 minutes of stoppages at the end of the first leg here. And Stuttgart are going to bring on Chema Andres, a Spaniard who came through the Real Madrid academy, played 3 times for the first team at Real Madrid, including twice in La Liga, in his debut as a sub for Dani Ceballos against Las Palmas, against a team that Scott McKenna, the Scotland international, was playing for that evening. And he's going to come on. Here is Andres. He will replace Stieler, who took his place in the team from the start. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 3 in second half stoppage time. As Scales rolls it to Trusty, he goes back the way to Schmeichel. The edge of his box, right foot the ball to the left there for Scales, and out to Sarachi on this near side. Infield to McGregor, but they're deep inside their own half here, Celtic. Can they find a goal which might prove their salvation? Played down the line to McCowan. He's on the turn, looking to fire it through for Iheanacho. It's just too close to Newbell. He comes out and smothers at the feet of the Nigerian, and it stays 3-1 to the visitors.
Yeah, good play, wasn't it? You know, and a good run actually, and the goalkeeper read it superbly well. Out very, very quickly to get down at the feet of Iheanacho, but it was good play, forward passing.
Yeah, I mean, McCowan, great vision. I think it's a decent enough way to pass. Just credit the goalkeeper, Newbell, for reading the situation. Yang had made a run as well. He could have played him, but he played the more difficult one, the more likely to get a goal from. Iheanacho had made a great run as well.
Right, Pat, how do you, it's not finished yet, still a few minutes to go, but how do you rate Celtic's chances of progression at this point?
I don't, to be honest. I think this will be a better team in Stuttgart, and they'll be up against it. But listen, 3-1, they would need, you would love to see them get that second goal just to give themselves a chance going away from home. But when you're 3-1 down and the second leg's in Germany, it's going to be very, very tough. And as you say,
and they might have a problem here. Thomas is in, and it's goal number 4. That's it, that'll finish the tie. Right at the end of the first leg, Celtic are 3 down, and will be 3 down when they go to Germany for the second leg. The Portuguese Thomas finds himself in on Schmeichel, and with the outside of the boot he finds the top left corner to surely send Celtic spiralling out of the Europa League. And it's going to end up being a heavy defeat here in Glasgow. Celtic 1, VfB Stuttgart 4.
Well, whatever chance they had, that's it gone. That's it gone. We were saying that it was most likely that Stuttgart might get that 4th goal, and they've achieved it. What a good finish, though. He's going to ground, and he's hit it almost as he's going to ground with the outside of his right foot, and just takes it up into the top right-hand corner against Schmeichel coming out, trying to get a block on, and had no real chance for that 4th goal.
It's a great run from Thomas. He runs inside Sarachi. He should never be allowed to get in there, but when he gets in, he's falling to the ground. It's a half volley outside of the right boot into the top corner. It's a wonderful finish. But you're right, Pat, you know, said 5 minutes ago, I think now the job for Celtic, if you can get the goal, great, don't concede another one. Even at 3-1, you're thinking, do you fancy Celtic to keep a clean sheet away from home? No. So they're going to need to score 3 away from home. Now they need to score 4. As much as I think they have actually performed pretty well, that vulnerability at the back is there for them, and it'll be there. That'll be magnified next week against Stuttgart, unless they take their foot off the gas, which I don't see happening.
It's almost at a point where Martin O'Neill might be better served putting out a shadow team next week, given the importance of the domestic games.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to be embarrassed, though. No. You've got to play the game, and that's key.
A 4-1 home defeat, even against German opposition, is fairly mortifying for the Celtic supporters. The Scales picks up, and we are well into the stoppage time now. That 4th goal surely ends Celtic's interest. Tinekti rolls it back the edge of the box. Trusty gets it forward to Iheanacho, and then McCowan. It's deflected, it breaks to Sarachi, fires it across, it's cleared there inside the 6-yard box, out to this near side. There are about 20 seconds left of the stoppage time. Stuttgart have been so ruthless tonight with their finishing. They've not had many efforts on target. All but one's gone in as McCowan comes forward into the area looking for Iheanacho. Can't find him. Stuttgart clear.
He should be able to though. Iheanacho's peeled away for the pass.
There's Yang on the far side looking to get across and pulls it back. McCowan lays it back to Hatate. Sarrachi over the bar. Celtic 1, Stuttgart 4.
Yeah, it's a chance, wasn't it? Again, you know, not clinical enough. You know, you compare the two teams when they get into those positions, very different.
Just the one before it, McCowan's driving on his right foot. He's unlikely to take the shot on with his right foot. He's unlikely to be able to find Iheanacho with a reverse pass. He's peeled off the defender looking for a through ball in the box. He needs to stand and be that bounce pass. McCowan plays it in where he should be, that then allows Iheanacho either to back in, get the shot away, or lay it off to McCowan. And when that works its way to Sarrachi again, Yang does brilliant down the right hand side. It comes across him, he opens his foot up and goes with his side foot. It's only ever going to go over the bar. He needs to go and put the laces through that, try and keep it low, even through the bodies. Ricochet, deflection, takes it into the goal.
We're into 6 minute of stoppage time at the end. 5 were added. It's 4-1 Stuttgart. It's Tenekti driving down the left side. Rolls it to Hatate. Across it comes and it's forced home at the back post.
He's missed.
Wide.
Oh, he's put it by the post. He's ended up in the net himself and somehow the ball goes the other side. And it stays 4-1. It was Araujo who scored late at Kilmarnock on Sunday. And somehow he's contrived to miss.
Oh, I mean, it's great play. Tenekti and Hatate. Hatate makes that run inside them. He plays it into his path, fires it across as the deflection looks like it's going to creep in. Araujo's steaming in at the back post. He gets a touch to it, but somehow the ball's gone wide and he's gone into the net.
So I just assumed he'd taken the ball in with him.
It looked from here that it'd gone in, but clearly he's knocked it wide again. Another one we'd need to say again, but that is a glorious opportunity to keep the tie alive.
Yeah, and they've missed it, and it's all over here at the end of the first leg. Celtic well beaten on the night. Game over. It's probably tie over now as well. It was always going to be a tough challenge coming up against a side from the Bundesliga, and so it has proven to be. A ruthless Stuttgart have come to Celtic Park and scored 4 times. A first half double from the Morocco international El Kanous, and Celtic on the back foot. His goals coming either side of a counter from Benjamin Nygren, who squared the tie all too briefly, as it turned out, for Celtic, who shipped 2 goals in the second half after what was a decent performance really against German opposition. Just so many soft goals that Celtic are conceding just now. And those goals from levelling just before the hour mark, and Thomas in stoppage time, man who scored the winner against Aberdeen in the qualifiers for this tournament for Sporting Club 5 years ago, returns to haunt Scottish opposition with the killer goal, you feel, as he knocked it home with the outside of the right boot into the top left corner to send the pack of Stuttgart supporters into joyous ecstasy to our right. They still celebrate. Lots of the Celtic support had headed for the hills long before the final whistle. Many of them didn't see that 4th Stuttgart goal, which has left them with an almighty mountain to climb when they go to Germany for the second leg next week. If they can somehow come back from this, it will be one of the greatest comebacks from a Scottish club in European competition, without doubt. It finished here at the end of the first leg of this Europa League knockout playoff round tie. Celtic 1, VfB Stuttgart 4.
Celtic in the UEFA Europa League.
Live on Sports Sound
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Such a bad night for Celtic, obviously. Uninspired. The Celtic goal coming from a mistake. Benjamin Nygren taking advantage. That was really the only bright spot for Celtic this evening. This match will be remembered for those Schmeichel mistakes. 2 of the goals you'd expect the goalkeeper to make. The first and the third Stuttgart goals. Stuttgart had the ball in the net a 4th time after that. It was ruled out for offside. They would eventually get their 4th, with Al El Khanous with 2 goals on the night for Stuttgart. Jamie Leveling with a third, and Thiago Thomas there, rounding off the scoring and surely putting Celtic out of European competition. The second leg now, surely just a nuisance fixture for Celtic, and what is a busy, critical moment in this incredible season. Celtic have now won just one of the last 11 home games in the knockout rounds of major European competitions, losing each of the last 5 in succession whilst conceding 2+ goals in each, including tonight. And you have to say that home advantage Celtic sometimes enjoyed in Europe has gone. Celtic Park no longer a cauldron right now. Club fractured by division between the fans and the board. What does it mean for the remainder of this season? Pat Bonner and James McFadden have had a few moments to reflect on what they've seen this evening. And Pat, I think you mentioned it towards the end of commentary this evening. You're not giving Celtic any hope next week, really, to get this turned around.
No, they won't turn this around. They're too good a team, Stuttgart, I think. And Celtic weren't outclassed tonight. That's for sure. You know, I've seen other games here in Europe where, you know, good teams have come and really destroyed Celtic. Celtic weren't destroyed tonight. They played actually decent football. They weren't that clinical in around the edge of the box when they had chances. I think they had one shot on target from Nygren that the keeper produced a really good save. And, you know, we'll look at those goals again. I haven't seen the replays of them that Celtic had lost. But you're saying, Jonathan, you're the one in the studio, you're looking at the pictures, you're saying that Schmeichel, there's 2 goals that he was at fault for.
He has to do better with them, yeah. Pat, there's no question.
There's no question. Okay, well, I'm not, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, the first one, definitely. The second one, there was pace on the ball down to his right-hand side. It's close enough maybe that in his heyday he would have made that save.
The second one also, it bounces just in front of him, to give him some sort of credit there, or credence there. Yeah.
So that's the case. To slap it away as opposed to getting.
I think it's just slow getting down.
It's not a get out, James. I don't think.
No, it's slow getting down. But from that point of view, then, you know, Celtic lost 2 bad goals. You know, the last one, that was the one where we're saying, don't lose a 4th goal. Don't lose a 4th goal. Now, the guy took it really, really well. And that's the difference between the 2 teams also. When you get into those positions, put the ball in the back of net. And that's what Stuttgart, how many chances did they have? Really did. Schmeichel had 1 save. Yeah, he was obviously going to save the one that he saved down to his left-hand side. But apart from that, they didn't cut Celtic open, but they were clinical when they did. And that is a difference in Europe. That is the difference in Europe. But they played decently well, and Martin would probably pick that out. But it tells, I think the next game is probably a bit of a nuisance game, to be perfectly honest. 4-1 down, you're not going to turn it around. What does he do? Does he put out a weakened team and be embarrassed, or does he go with a decent strength team again? But it's in the middle of a fixture pile up, and that is going to be difficult for Celtic. Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be one of the questions put to Martin O'Neill. We'll hear from him in the post-match press conference as soon as we can bring that to you. James, it's never nice picking out an individual player when it's negative, but we can't not talk about Kasper Schmeichel this evening. And does Martin O'Neill now have a decision to make?
Yeah, I think he does. I think I said before the game that, you know, he should feel fortunate to still be playing every single game. I think that if you look at next week, I'm not one that ever you would give up on a game, but it may well be an opportunity to see Sinisalo in the goal. I think that we are singling him out, but it's not because you're saying he should be making saves that, you know, are difficult. I think they're quite simple saves that he should make, and it's look, they were clinical. You know, they did look as if they had real quality in attack when they decided to attack Stuttgart. But Celtic were, I think it was a decent enough performance. They just look like they're going to concede. And look, the last line of defence is the goalkeeper, and he's the one that is always going to take the flak. But I think that even in front of him, can you do more to try and, you know, make the chances that they're getting more difficult as well? But, you know, ultimately, for me, having seen them once, and I would like to see them again, I think the 2 shots that go in should be saved.
Yeah. You know, when you play in European competitions, you always know that good teams are going to get chances. Your goalkeeper has to perform. You know, we've talked about it in the past. You know, goalkeepers who pulled off. Remember, Forster, was it against Barcelona?
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Not just them.
Not just that game, but it was an incredible night. And then you walk away with a result, and you go to yourself, "Oh, what a great performance! We did really well." But the goalkeeper's the one.
Yeah.
Now, if the goalkeeper doesn't perform and lets goals in, then you're not going to have an easy night of it, and you walk away from the game thinking, "Wow, frustrated." You know, and that is the difference, I would assume, tonight. Yeah. I really want to see the goals again. I can't see it. I'm frustrated that way also.
I'm sure Liam McLeod with the magic.
You're not even giving us a feedback on the goals properly, because
I'm so sorry.
Liam's away doing his other job, Jonathan. So unfortunately, he can't show us.
For once, that's good to hear.
Well saying he can't hear you. Yeah.
I'm sure you'll see the pictures before too long. I'm sure someone in the press area there will kindly furnish you with those pictures before too long, and I'm sure you will take the view that Schmeichel should have done better with those two chances. Pat, I've got to ask you, it's before